the cat with a different Rain weeps. Ah! Alright. Here we go. Hello? Yes, I think we're back. Ah! Why do I always do that? Alright. Mina Yokoso. Alright, class, settle down and let me tell you a story. Oh, I'm so sorry I am late. You know what? Thank you for waiting. I'm trying to do that power speak thing where instead of apologizing all the time, you do positive centric whatchamacallit. Hold on, I need to what am I doing? Anyways, instead of apologizing all the time, you say positive centric thing. Like instead, I'm sorry I'm late, you say thank you for waiting. So again, class, thank you for waiting. Oh, I'm so sorry. I know we're scheduled to like paint. We're scheduled to paint stuff for tonight. But the thing is, I simply feel so uninspired for the simple reason that whatchamacallit, I was so off because last Monday during stream I received this third party policy content violation from YouTube out of nowhere. And I was so surprised. Like how and why? We were simply reacting to a video and we were providing a critique, and I was doing a comparative analysis with regards to Rizal. This video's take on Jose Rizal, Philippines national hero, as to what I learned about him in my undergrad and during my high school. It's like it literally cut off the stream literally right in the middle. And yeah, I was so frustrated. I was so just angry at the whole thing that I thought, you know what, might as well just cut it out for tonight. And even up until now, like we're supposed to paint. I just feel so uninspired. So yeah, here we are. It's gonna be a military kind of night, and we're gonna be picking up from where we left off last Monday. And hopefully nothing bad happens, because I know for a fact that what I do every time we do like a video, what I do is I basically email or message the creator for every video that we do actually here on the channel, for every story that we cover. I honestly ask for permission from the creator, or at least hopefully I remember to, because I as a form of courtesy. Most of them honestly don't answer, but some of them do, especially the smaller ones. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen again. And again, here we go. But before we do, guys, thank you for your likes and subscribe. Yeah, there we go. Hold on, let's put up this one first. Alright, Games Workshop demands fans forgive them over female custodies. We actually covered this particular story like a few weeks back with Vara Dark, I think, and we actually read the opening letters when the Female Custodies was announced, like for the 11th edition. The thing that I remember about that especially is that regardless of that announcement of the teasers regarding Female Custodies, is that Games Workshop's stocks, or third quarter earning report or revenue report, they were still up regardless of that, regardless of the whole Female Custodies things. Despite the fact that it drove a lot of people into the arms of Games Fortress, the creators of French Crusade. I mean, don't get me wrong, French Crusade isn't without its controversies regarding its minis. That we failed to cover, but which we're gonna do later, by the way. So for now, this is considered to be a follow-up with regards to the whole Female Custodies things now that they've been officially released. So up And yeah, again, you guys, thank you for the likes and the subscribe. Emperor knows we need it. Here we go.
Well, I would say I told you so, but
Endymion.
yeah, I told you so. Remember the whole female adeptus?
He was so nice when I emailed them. He was so nice when I messaged them. I wonder if I spelled his name correct. If I pronounce his name correctly. Endymion. Only time will tell.
Custodes thing, maybe you don't. To quickly refresh you, Games Workshop decided that they were going to add women to the Custodes faction within Warhammer 40k. This was dumb because there was never once a mention that there was ever a female Adeptus Custode thing to begin with. What ended up happening following this lore change, which was honestly, let's be real, just done to appease ESG nonsense like it usually is that it made a lot of fans really mad. People refused to buy anything Custodes related, the faction fell out of love with a lot of people, and generally speaking, the whole female custody thing has become nothing more than a meme at this point as to how not to pander to your paying customers. Of course, you're gonna have
I remember there was a 40k tourney about a week back at my LGS, about the our regular LGS. And I asked them, so 11th edition's coming out. Yeah. So, no one was playing Custodes, by the way. So, Custodes bit. What do you guys think about that? Oh, we're just gonna keep the helmets on. And then when I asked, what are you gonna do about the ones with boob armor? And there were crickets, and there was silence. Like, I honestly don't know if they were being polite, that they couldn't answer the question about what they think about it because they might get canceled or something. So I guess they were being quite careful about their words, especially in public or something. So, anyways, when I asked them about the whole female custodies thing, mostly silence, and they were going to keep the helmets on. That's it.
the websites and the people defending this sort of thing all of the time, saying that having women in factions is good because it adds diversity. But the thing about Warhammer is that it works because it doesn't have diversity in its factions. Instead,
I mean, it's a grim, dark world. Why would they have diversity? They already have equality. There are women in the guards, for Emperor's sake. I mean, why? That's the whole thing. Do you really think they'd care about diversity in this grim, dark world where you eat corpse starch, where one's diet is composed of recycled human matter?
each faction is just what it is. The Space Marines aren't cool because they have every other faction's powers or whatever in their overall faction themselves.
I mean, Vulcan burned an Eldari child, right? Was that it? Long live Karl Franz.
They're cool because they're Space Marines. Anyways,
yes,
the female Adeptus Custodes were being pushed by Games Workshop, despite the whole fan backlash, because they figured, well, they're going to buy anything we make anyways, right? And we need that ESG money, so we're going to make the personal guard of the Emperor have women in it now, even though it makes literally no sense.
Yep.
So, these Adeptus Custodes box sets with their female variants, they were all ready to go, they got made, they were in the box and sealed, all ready to hit that eager modern audience fan base that Games Workshop wants to cater to, and well, as SpikyBits.com reported recently as seen here, Games Workshop leaves retailers on the hook for Custodes boxes. Uh-oh, what do you mean on the hook?
What does that mean? Because if I remember correctly, during that last report that we covered, no one wanted this. There are female players out there, and none of them actually asked for the clamor. Oh, we wanted female custodies. We wanted female Space Marines. There are pink Tyranids out there. I promise you that.
Hook. What happened now? Well, it turns out all those female Adeptus Custody boxes full of those miniatures ready to be painted and shipped out, they never left the warehouse.
What?
In fact, according to SpikyBits.com, these Custodes battle group orders have effectively been canceled by Games Workshop right before they were meant to ship the products to local hobby shops across the world. So any pre-order that was taken for these Custodes has not been served yet, leaving leaving these stores who ordered them with angry customers and tons of refunds. So, what happened? As Spiky Bits says here, according to multiple stores, Games Workshop confirmed allocation numbers for the new Adeptus Custodes Battle Group release, then turned around and shorted stores anyway. That's left independent retailers canceling customer orders, issuing refunds, eating processing fees, and trying to salvage goodwill after what should have been a routine pre-order weekend. So, essentially what happened here is very simple, alright? Games Workshop, they spent all of this money making these female Adeptus Custodes sets, believing that their Warhammer fans would eat up anything that they would push in front of them. What happened instead was they basically outright canceled the entire release of these sets and chalked it up to it all being a logistical error, which isn't that convenient to say.
A logistical error? Well, we talked about this last time. Like, do you know, I know I have been repeated this over and over again about how hard it is to actually get a proposal through a board of directors. Like, and just imagine this particular board giving the thumbs up or giving an approval to this kind of project or to this kind of a proposal to actually greenlight this kind of product. It almost seems like, there's a conspiracy behind it. I mean, guys, we've been here long enough that, I'm not the type to actually go through conspiracy theories regarding DEI that, that they're pushing the gender war just to, take the attention away from their real issues like Epstein Island or the war in the Middle East or something. But the thing is, at a certain point that you have to believe that there's some sort of a conspiracy because it's almost impossible to push something like this through a board of directors such as Games Workshop, who's known for its greed. That regardless that the first and only thing that they're going to protect is the bottom line. And if I remember correctly, the third quarter reports last year, despite the announcement of the Female Custodes, they were still up in terms of revenue in their third quarterly report earnings. So this is a bit strange for me. Like, something is happening behind the scenes because they would have gone through this, but what happened? Did the board pull the plug? Did the board change its mind? What happened? Because someone had to push this through the board, yet somehow they canceled. Like, last minute, really? So, I don't know. There's something strange about this entire thing. I like it.
It also doesn't make sense either, though. Like, how is it a logistical error when you spend all this money pushing these products? Like, you made them even, and then claiming that actually women always protected the God Emperor of mankind. Really, all coincidentally at the same time when ESG money was flooding every facet of entertainment around 2020 and beyond when you did this too. And now suddenly time comes to show the goods and they just don't exist somehow. Yeah, I'm calling BS on that one for sure. You see, the more logical answer here is very simple. Games Workshop found out in real time about the actual demand for the female Adeptus Custodes. And the demand was basically, I mean, come on, 0%.
So, in other words, 0. Like the author who wrote that having female custodes makes her want to play Warhammer didn't even buy a box. Because I bet you she wouldn't buy a box. She never has, and she never will.
Pretty much. Otherwise, none of this would have gone down the way that it did now, wouldn't it? So the processing system should be pretty normal, as Spiky Bits shows here. Company shows cool new thing, people get excited for it, cool new thing goes up for pre-order, people put money down, stores orders based on the pre-order, the thing gets shipped, and everybody is happy. Pretty normal stuff as we're all aware.
Except it didn't happen.
Not this time. Nope, not this time. Oh, it's so delicious, guys.
Finger licking good special.
See this sort of thing happen time and time again, and no matter what it is, it always makes me laugh. Yet again, like always, the modern audience did not show up to buy the thing that the companies are pushing on top of them. It's extra sad here, though, because games...
I mean, I guess it's a good thing that they canceled. However, what if the production cost? Didn't they already produce the product? Wasn't, the only thing left would be to actually ship the product?
Workshop really burned goodwill for no reason, just to appease to people who aren't fans anyways. It kind of reminds me of that one game, you know, 1348X Vado. Remember the Lesbian Night game, which came out this year? It had something like 200,000 wish lists, and people online were
alleged wish lists.
Liking the developer's post by the tens of thousands when they were pushing back against what they would call the Chud audience. Yeah, that's right. Take that, I guess.
Yeah,
well,
go Chuds.
When X-Vado finally came out, barely anybody showed up day one or even the first full weekend to play the
240?
game. And if you go look up X-Vado on Steam charts right now, its highest peak, as you can see here, was 427. And currently, it has only 17 people playing it, and that's it. And by the way, I am writing this video on a Saturday morning. Okay, so people are off work. Surely they should be playing it, but where are they? This is what I keep saying. You can't be pandering to the modern audience when it comes to anything these days. We shouldn't do it at all.
I'm gonna repeat my theory, you know, like I said in our report with regards to X-Voto. I believe that the modern audience exists, only that, you know, they don't play video games. Because, you know, going back to our other reports or going back to our other stories, we had, you know, a ton of them attacked Emeru on Twitter. So, they have the numbers. They definitely have the numbers to say the line, to go to pile on or to cancel someone on Twitter. But what they don't have are the numbers that actually play video game, because they actually have to spend $20 to $30 or $40 to actually participate in something like this in order to actually support their initiative ventures or or ventures that actually cater to their initiative. But excuse me, but the thing is, it's a completely different thing, right? Shelling out cash and then, you know, wait, yeah, sorry, my bad. Like shelling out cash and then, you know, pushing it, and then, you know, just posting on Twitter to support an initiative is a completely different thing. Way easier. So yeah, I believe they have the numbers. It's just that most of them don't play video games. Yet for some reason they are trying to impose their whatever this is onto communities that doesn't even want them, that doesn't even care about them. So yeah.
Oh, really? Because these sorts of people, they never show up in any meaningful numbers to ever support you. The vast majority of people who liked the Lesbian Night Game's tweets either watched the game like being played by someone else online on like YouTube, or they were never going to pick up the game in the first place. Because what do you mean that 200,000 wish lists resulted in 400 people only picking up the game? Yet what happened with the Lesbian Night Game is very much similar to the whole female Adeptus Custodi situation that we find ourselves in now, which is that nobody actually cares about these things. They really don't. Any sort of whataboutism when it comes to stuff like the female Custodes or anything else is just that. It's cope. It's the same problem every single time. These companies are making things meant for like phantoms, because where are these people? They don't exist. Otherwise, why would games work?
I disagree. They do exist. It's just that this isn't their thing. Yet for some reason, the reason why, you know, we don't like them is they're trying to impose their views on our communities that, you know, that doesn't really care about, well, their thing. They're trying to make us care about. Really? What happened there? Oh my god, did we just like, you know, disconnect for like a few minutes? We're like hopping on 100 Mbps. But anyway, so that's the thing. They're trying to make us care about something that we don't really care about, yet they're trying to impose their views on our thing. So it's backfiring in a sense that, you know, instead of actually being sympathetic to their cause, we end up hating them. So yeah.
Shop go out of their way to suddenly cancel all of these pre-orders.
Hate's too strong a word. We simply don't like them. We simply don't, you know, want any part of them. Like, I don't know, vegans or something.
Right before they're supposed to come out. That doesn't make any sense for that to happen when it's your big push for this brand new era of product, apparently. Only to suddenly back away and leave all of these hobby shops just hanging with dead silence. So one of these hobby shops that got absolutely cooked by Games Workshop with their whole backing down when it came to female custody pre-orders is a hobby shop named Warpfire Minis. Here's what Warpfire had to say to their customers via their Facebook.
Wait, there were pre-orders? I mean, good job. Kudos.
Page when Games Workshop delivered the bad news about no female Adeptus Custodes, as it reads here. We got a phone call today from Games Workshop that they had a logistical error, and instead of receiving all of the Custodes Battle Group boxes that we ordered and received confirmation numbers for, we're instead going to receive a grand total of 0 Custodes Battle Group boxes. All of the other items for the weekend are shipping like normal. They had no real explanation of why, said it's affecting.
So everything else shipped out except boxes that contain female custodies. So the question is, did they make them at all? What's going on here?
Hundreds of other stores, and that there's no way to get any more of these boxes. They're working on the error on their end and say it won't happen again. I fought them on it, escalated it to the higher ups, and at the end of the day, we're just getting screwed. Isn't that interesting? The one part of the ordering schedule that has the female custodies just magically doesn't work and can't be shipped, but everyone else and everything else they ordered is suddenly just totally fine. Come on, guys. We know what's happening here. They can say it's a logistical error, but the fact that they, as in Games Workshop, never confirmed to Warpfire that they would ever get the boxes at all, like, that is very telling. It would be one thing to say, sorry, it was a mistake, they are coming, but like Warpfire said there's 0 confirmation that they're ever coming at all, like as if they never existed. That is very weird, but as you can see,
that's the whole point.
Even why this sort of thing...
Even ENDYMION says the whole thing is weird. Did they even produce them at all? Did they even make them at all? Or did they know that the backlash was, going to be so great that, you know what, guys, let's not ship them out?
It's bad. I mean, it's
because everything else seems to be in order. Every other product seems to be in order, all except these boxes which contain female custodies. Bit weird.
Easy. It doesn't only annoy people when they go to pre-order something and can't get it, but these sorts of things also erode the trust on a local level too. So Warpfire had to issue this at the bottom of their own post, which reads as you can see here. But what can we do in a bad situation? I'm going to go through this weekend and process full refunds for everyone who ordered a box of the female custodies, he means. And in addition, I'm going to add $55.25 store credit, the price of other custodies boxes, to your account that you can use towards anything on our site to try and make it right. This isn't the normal from...
this is bad. This is bad. I mean, especially for small stores.
Games Workshop, it shouldn't happen again. And just know I'm equally as bummed and very sorry that this happened. You see what I mean? This is the owner panicking and getting absolutely cooked for something they never even did wrong themselves either. Now, they have to give everybody who pre-ordered a female custodies box set extra money credit because of Games Workshop's own screw-up. These stupid lore changes are now taking money out of hobby shops' owners' pockets as well. It's so dumb.
Oopsie! Nothing will change. All they'll say is oopsie, and the small LGSs get screwed.
Then you had Rock Bottom Games and Hobbies, that's another shop that also confirmed, as you can see here, that they too would not be receiving a single box of the female custodies either. And they even added their own order details for the shop for full transparency reasons. And look at that, dude. You can see it. 30 boxes ordered, none of them will be shipped, and no back orders shipped either. There has been so little demand for this modern audience disaster of a release that Games Workshop is quietly scaling back the entire release and just hoping that nobody would notice. We did notice. We noticed a lot, actually. It's scummy, though, that they cooked these shops the way that they did, though. Games Workshop, if you ask me, they should be the ones issuing at least gift cards of some kind to these affected customers, right? Not these shops. It's not their fault. It's not their fault that like the whole main company tried to push modern slop on you, right? So to have them pay now out of pocket is just extra scummy. What's also very interesting is that this is not...
But they can't. This is Games Workshop we're talking about. This is GW. Warhammer lives on regardless if these small LGSs exist. This is why it's so scummy. This is like one of the reasons why I haven't, fully invested into the whole system yet. like I'm doing everything I can. Like I'm investing left and right in other systems just to avoid the inevitable to complete my guard army. But yeah, here we go.
Not some small 1 or 2 stores affected kind of deal, because nobody's getting these boxes at all. And what's also weird is apparently the way that these
Poor guys though.
pre-orders are even done in Games Workshop is that they gauge interest based on these surveys that they send out to these hobby shops. So then these shops then tell Games Workshop which items, have the most demand, and then based on the information that they're given, Games Workshop will then scale their production to then meet the needs of whichever item is most wanted, right? That makes sense. That's obvious. And that was also done for this box set too. As seen here, this is the Female Adeptus Custodes box set retailing at $255.
So that's roughly hold on. So that's roughly 15,000 local. Okay.
Per box set. That's a lot of money for something nobody
more like 18 now
wants, which means that Games Workshop wasted a ton of money making these things for now nobody to get them. But what makes it even weirder is that the same box set is still available, but only directly from Games Workshop's own website. Although, as of now, I have no idea if anybody has actually been able to get their hands on this box set or not as this video being made.
It's gonna be rare. It's gonna be a collectible, like, 10, 20 years from now. These female custody minis are gonna be worth like hundreds of thousands. Since it's gonna be a collector's item in a sense that this was like a misprint. One of Games Workshop's biggest mistake. Like, when coins are misprinted, or it's like, having a Lego piece with flaws. It's going to be considered as that in like 10, 20 years from now. They're going to be worth like thousands of dollars if anyone could get their hands on them.
Being transparent. But that being said, it's still a perplexing situation either way, because they screwed over hundreds of stores.
There we go. It's going to be like a historical artifact for a lot of Warhammer people.
The only reason Games Workshop didn't honor these pre-orders is probably because demand, wasn't high enough to warrant it. Which does seem bizarre.
So demand wasn't high enough to warrant it, and therefore they still provided. So we can speculate that demand was that GW made a few deals, or made a big deal about announcing their inclusion initiative, their DEI initiative into their product. But the problem is demand wasn't high enough. Yet, they kept up the rhetoric that they will be releasing female custodies. Go run to Games Fortress, go run to Trench Crusade, whatever. And in the end, they simply didn't push through with it for the simple reason that there wasn't enough demand to justify its production. So yeah, there's a possibility.
Because you would think, well, if we can at least make some money on the orders that are available, like, that would be a good idea, right? But maybe they don't even want these figures out in the wild if it's so low, because then it's really official. And then for those people to then use and see it out in the open, I think generally speaking, they cook themselves and everybody else too. All because some feminist at the company thought the legacy factions needed more women in it, even though nobody asked for this, as Adam Jensen would say.
See, who exactly? Like, what exactly is the threat here? Was the board of directors bribed? Were they threatened? You know how hard it is to a multi-million-dollar company to actually, push through a proposal to a board of directors, especially something that is against their ethos, their creed, their mission, vision, something again to what makes their company just simply unique.
Then Marshall Beaumont, that's a Warhammer Vtuber, also caught wind of this, and I think they summed up what happened pretty efficiently, where they said this via Twitter. So let's wrap up the failure of the new Custodes release. Custodes trailer for 10th edition nearly 2 years ago had 4,600 likes versus 17,000 dislikes. Custodes trailer for Horus Heresy 3rd edition 2 months ago had 2,700 likes versus 14,000 dislikes. As of this posting, 10 days after the Custodes Battle Box went on sale, it has not sold out on the Games Workshop website in the US and several other markets. Independent hobby shops report Games Workshop shorting their production of boxes, resulting in hundreds of stores not getting any copies. All evidence points to this being a massive apocalyptic flop of a release for the...
That's strange. It's like I literally searched for Marshall Beaumont's Twitter. Okay, easier. Oh, you know what? Let's give him a follow. Mm.
US market to not be sold out 10 days later is especially damning. So yeah, this has been a disastrous release by all measures, but again, this is what the modern audience slop is all about.
That they
Because
did.
what do you mean that you took a faction that are created through a unique genetic process that is tied to the literal god emperor of mankind himself, where every single codex, book, and novel confirms that this faction was always male in the past. And then you decided in your infinite wisdom, we're gonna make them women now. Great idea. Like, Warhammer is not the place to run your stupid social experiments, by the way. It's probably one of the most loyal and far-reaching fan bases in media today. It's not really a hobby that is meant for women per se. Like, sure, women can play it and all that, nothing wrong with it, but the point of Warhammer is that it caters specifically to the male demographic, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing wrong with it. Girls play Warhammer. They play other systems. There are pink Tyranids out there. Yet they just had to force their views, or they just had to force, what their ideals into a community that doesn't care, that doesn't want them. So yeah.
Either. I mean, for God's sakes, humanity in this universe are like brutal defenders of Earth who slaughter aliens with chainsaw swords, for God's
I mean, what was that? Sorry, my bad.
sakes. It's a world where technology is treated like a religion and it's dystopian by design. You have
There
an
we
entire
go.
realm in
Like, why would they care about DEI? Men, women, and everything in between can die equally before the love of the Emperor. That is the whole thing. It's dystopian. It's uncaring. It's grim, dark. The last thing they'd care about is the whole they, them, she, him, her, seer, X, Ray, whatever.
that universe basically called the Warp that is just like full of chaos demons that just want to like
There we
destroy
go.
you all the time, like mentally and then some. This all screams male dominated power fantasy to me. So trying to shift this over to having female custodes is going to do exactly what you think it's going to do. You're just going to split the community in half over something stupid like this that never should have existed. And for what though? Money? Like,
Is the community even split in half?
where's the money? You canceled
I mean, the number of likes should have been a barometer as to where the community stands in this entire
everything
thing.
because not enough people showed up anyways. It's the lesbian night game all over again, but even worse. Like, this whole change just feels like typical corporate nonsense to me. Why change the lore that has been cemented in truth for decades? Like, Warhammer has always been unapologetically grimdark for a reason. Like, the setting is not meant to be comfortable in the first place. It's a universe that's defined by fanaticism.
This setting is not meant to be inclusive. I don't want to be part of the Warhammer universe in no way whatsoever. It's like those fantasies. One wants to go to the Lord of the Ring universe. One wants to go to the Harry Potter universe, but real 40k fans, real Warhammer fans wants nothing to do with the 40k universe. Like, what if you were transported into that universe, into that world? No, holy crap. For anyone there that has actually spent an hour reading through this crap, no, you don't want any part. You don't want to get isekai'd into the 40k or Warhammer Fantasy universe, just like the Hunger Games universe. Alright, statistically speaking, you will not end up in District 1. Statistically speaking, you will not end up as a Space Marine. Alright? It is a grim and a dark place. And we are all equal in the eyes and love of the Emperor.
An endless war. And more importantly, and like this is key, Warhammer is not, I repeat, not meant to reflect modern social ideals whatsoever either. It's supposed to be a nightmare version of humanity's future, which is exactly why so many fans feel uneasy as they're watching parts of the franchise's identity slowly getting reshaped, not because they hate new ideas, but because the reason behind these changes are just, they're stupid. Like I said, modern
I mean, why would they want that? They want none of it. Alright? Here's the thing. Most people who are actually into this whole thing, including me, my love for these games or my love for this community doesn't reflect my actual opinion regarding the whole modern agenda. It doesn't. It clearly doesn't. Yet for some reason when the needle starts moving, with the way it's being provided, with the way it's being pushed, that you're trying to push that particular agenda into this community, into my community, it's gonna start to cause friction. I'm gonna start to dislike the agenda that tries to insert itself into something that I actually like, or something that I actually love. So yeah, they're going about it the wrong way, and the way it's being pushed, honestly, uh, you can't help but feel that there's like a great or a grand conspiracy behind it, because with so many flops that go woke, with the whole go woke go broke thing, it's starting to see that why do they still keep pushing? They already failed, so why bother? I mean, like, I keep saying and saying that, I keep saying that, so how hard it is to push a proposal to a board of directors. So that's why I'm starting to lean towards it, like lean towards this angle that there might be a grand conspiracy to the whole thing. Because anyways, let's just keep on going.
Social ideals don't make sense in Warhammer. It's not some universe that has like influencers showing you a product or something like that, right? Like, why would 2026 modern California ideals be represented in a universe that, like
California ideals. Karen
its name
ideals.
suggest, I don't know, exists in the 40,000th millennium of mankind, for crying out loud. Like, doesn't that insinuate that the stupid feminism rot that we see today is gonna be removed from Warhammer's timeline by at least, I don't know, 38,000 years of human progress? By that point, humans will have obviously learned how to like achieve space travel. Things like microaggressions don't exactly matter because there's like Xenos trying to eat everybody. And when there's literal demons again crawling out of other dimensions looking to turn your skull into soup pretty much, like that's what this is all about, right? It's all about influence in the end, isn't it? It's all about seeing these massive companies increasingly adopting ESG frameworks and internal diversity mandates, which always just ruin and screw up everything they touch anyways. These policies that just push studios and companies, to just retrofit their existing franchises. It's all done to just satisfy corporate slop optics at best, and whether you may think any one of these decisions made in this era are good or bad, the truth is that they have absolutely reshaped how creative decisions get made in the modern era of entertainment, and that is the point. The fear among many, not really just in Warhammer, but like all entertainment, it's the same thing, that instead of the franchise, the hobby, the lore, and such evolving, organically, everything is just being warped, pun intended, to just kind of check boxes instead. Now, to be fair, okay, Games Workshop wouldn't word it that way. They would instead just frame the inclusion of female Adeptus Custodes to be nothing more than a simple expansion of their universe, but the timing here, that is what raises...
I think they didn't even do that, just straight up. There have always been female Custodes, period. There wasn't even like a proper retcon.
Eyebrows. Because over the past decade alone, Warhammer has exploded in popularity. I mean, Space Marine 2 sold millions of copies for...
And it's all about the Big Daddy Witcher Henry Cavill.
Reason. Probably made a bunch of people into Warhammer fans too, let's be honest. And like the whole tabletop thing has grown too. And unfortunately, whenever a legacy IP does well, that's when the corporate vultures start circling the IP, looking to feast, like the freaks that they are. I hate it so much, dude. And now that you got the Henry Cavill-led universe show thing at Amazon, for example, and more happening, what then happens next is that the once niche Grimdark universe is now being positioned like it's going to be the next global entertainment icon of the world. And when something like that happens, corporate pressure tends to follow too. I personally believe if Warhammer never blew up the way that it did, the female Custodes would never exist. It was only ever a design decision made because some executive thought, well, if more people get into this, we need to get the women in it too. Which is why this leads to the concerns of many hobbyists, as you're seeing, because when you attract mainstream attention, you also attract the corporate management structures as well, like always, right? The brand consultants show up, the risk management teams, and the people who only care about that one word, optics. That's all they care about. And words like, we need accessibility and diversity, like, oh, spare me, dude. The point, right, is to ensure in these people's eyes that these products appeal to the widest possible audience. But
the widest possible, so that's just the thing. The widest possible audience doesn't want it. Only a niche number of people actually want it. That's why we're talking about it. That's why I'm talking about it. I'm
All
the
it ends up
niche.
doing really is making friction with the legacy fan base that's been there since day one. And what a lot of morons in suits don't understand is that people don't fall in love and connect to any which franchise or IP if you're just constantly sanitizing it and then making it into a safe space with no sharp edges. No, you see, the reason why people fall in love with an IP or world is because it has a distinct identity. It has
Yep.
its own tone and its philosophy that
That it
differs from
does.
everything else, hence why it's its own IP. When it's something truly unique, right, that's when it actually resonates. That's what Warhammer is. It's like Dark Souls. It's the same way. Like, nobody plays a Souls-like because they're gonna want like cute Hello Kitty fun time adventures. No, people are gonna play a Souls-like because it's brutal and it's dark and it's suffocating them
Dark
with its
and
atmosphere.
brutal.
That's what you want. That's why you're there for it. It's like saying like, oh, I want a horror movie not to be scary. Why are you watching a horror movie then? Go watch like something else instead. You know what I mean? It makes no sense. And this is
Yeah.
why when I see what they've tried doing with Female Custodes only to have it backfire the way that it always does, it just shows me that these companies are forgetting what made them who they are in the first place. Warhammer 40k thrives because it refuses to soften those edges.
There
The
we go.
Imperium is not meant to be heroic. The galaxy it exists within is not a hopeful one. The Emperor's entire Imperium is not
Because there's probably someone who saw the Custodes. Oh, I bet they're heroic because they're made of gold. I guess that's what he's trying to say, but that's not. That's a grim, dark place.
meant to be some aspirational thing that we want to achieve. It's
No
all
one
meant
wants
to be
to live
terrifying.
in this particular universe, and whoever was responsible for this whole thing simply isn't a fan or simply didn't know that.
Cautionary tale, like a nightmare version of like where our society can go when it's being besieged by interdimensional demons and war, because that's the only thing that defines them in that era. If you try to take Warhammer and put a chick in it and make it lame or modern audience it, you end up with something that just drifts away from what made it unique. Eventually, it just becomes something for nobody, and then when that happens,
Something
well, then
for
what was the
nobody.
point? You really think pandering to the wine moms or the activist Twitter users going to result in the sales and not the people, mostly male, let's be real, who have actually kept you afloat for decades instead? Are we being serious here? Like, the real debate here is trust in the end. Do fans trust that Games Workshop is actually making these lore decisions like Female Custodes because
I remember there was this TikTok vid of a kid. Guys, let's cancel Eminem. I'm pretty sure you guys remember that vid. Yeah.
it will benefit or make the
I mean, what was the threat here? Start making female custodies or we will cancel you?
lore better in the future? Or is it more likely that something like this only exists because of corporate pressures to slowly reshape it into something that it was never meant to be? Looking at you, what happened to Star Wars and Star Trek and Doctor Who and Spartacus and Marvel and DC and games like 1348X Vado, the Lesbian Knight game too. All these changes that they do to these things are never meant for the better. They're always made by people who have no idea about anything. These companies don't have belief systems or mantras, even though they try to say that they do. They don't. Their code ethics, like, it changes like a fart in the wind. You're stupid to believe otherwise. So this
I guess we should be glad on that part of the companies, trying to earn that, the bottom line will always be revenue. That, they knew for a fact that releasing female custodies that, damaging the current lore would result in a loss of revenue. So I'm guess you know what? I see this whole thing as a positive thing. That, maybe perhaps this is the beginning of companies starting to realize that, the whole go woke, go broke thing. So yeah.
whole tension and nonsense is not unique to Warhammer. I know that. This failure is not a one and done thing either. This is what happens when franchises expand and then the corporate expectations rise with it. And then you, both as a fan or maybe somebody who works in these franchises that is hopefully watching this too, you got to ensure that at the very top of your list that matters is that the integrity, soul, and identity of the thing that you love is kept the way that it is. Otherwise, you're going to end up with endless gray slop that is no different than any other franchise ruined for the modern audience too.
There we go.
That's why Warhammer has existed for like, what, 4 decades now and counting? Something like that? I'm probably off, but it's been around a long time. But anyways, like, Warhammer survives because it has a clear identity where its universe is not trying to be everything for everybody. And right now, with the female custodian nonsense and seeing how poorly it's gone over in real time, you then have to wonder if this is the wake-up call for Games Workshop to stop this nonsense now before it somehow gets even worse. Because this needs to stop before it can get worse, right? But then what's next? The Emperor of Mankind is going to be reincarnated like one day into a non-binary black woman with a septum piercing? You know what? Do it.
That would definitely spell the end of 40K.
Workshop, I dare you to do that and then see what the community thinks about it. You know what will happen, but do it anyways. Why not? I mean, you thought the Female Adeptus Custodes thing was going to work too, right? Oh, what's that? You canceled it all and then you screwed over hundreds of hobby shops? Wow. It's almost as if, like I always say, stop catering to the modern audience and start catering to the people who have supported you for years before you have no more audience to begin with. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to. Hopefully this video makes it around enough so that people's brains can have the stupid shade from their heads, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right. You heard him, guys. Thank you for the likes and subscribe. Emperor knows we need it. Bye! All right. Hold on. Where to next? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a military kind of night. Hold on, you guys. I'm just gonna take a bit of a break. I need to look for my phone. Alright? I'm worried that things are happening at work and they need me. Now, we have to repeat the entire thing. The entire thing was mute the whole time. Hold on. Dumbass! I told you I'm not fit for this right now. Alright, let's go. Anyways, about a few weeks back, I went to a bolt action demo, the World War Games tabletop game about World War II. And it seems like, it helped me get over that World War II chip on my shoulder that, it makes me want to physically sick. Like, I would rather throw myself out the window if I watch another World War II documentary. If I play another World War II related game. But here we are! I actually had fun during that event. I managed to actually play my first full game. And I even got some minis out of it, which looked like a Russian sailor, but they turned out to be Japanese for Conflict 47. One of Warlord Games Weird War II products. It's right there. Anyways, we don't for tonight. We go back to the Fat Electrician about the only top secret Medal of Honor, Hiroshi Miyamura. One of the reasons I picked this particular video out is because I plan, when my finances look better, I plan on making a Japanese army. Making those Bansai charges across the field. Simply sounds fun. So why don't we go?
All right, we talked about the Nisei in World War II, the Japanese Americans that, despite being discriminated against and interned because of their Japanese ancestry, would go off and not only fight for America, but become the most decorated unit in American history.
That they are.
Let's see what some of the Nisei were up to during the Korean War.
They were still around.
Today we're talking about Hiroshi Miyamura, aka Hershey, World War II veteran, Korean War veteran, Medal of Honor recipient, and to the best of my knowledge and research, the only man whose Medal of Honor was ever classified as top secret. And we're going to get into why right after word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Element. Okay, look, you know what Element is. I know what Element is. They've been sponsoring like every other video for a year now. It's hydration mix. Doesn't have a bunch of bullshit in it. There's no sugar. There's no artificial dyes. It's just salt, magnesium, potassium, some natural flavoring, and a little bit of sweetener. That's it. You can get the sticks if you want to take them anywhere, or they have cans if you like carbonation. Okay, that's it. That's the whole pitch. Do you want not headaches and clear pee? Drink Element. Okay, the end. Contractually speaking, this ad has to be longer, so I have to keep going. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you a story. Once upon a time, my wife complained about having headaches for, I don't know, like 15 years straight. About a month ago, I convinced her to start drinking an Element every single morning, and I haven't heard her bitch about having a headache in the past 3 weeks. It's been fantastic. Nice. So if you want to give Element a try,
must be nice for their sex life.
Down below, when you use my link, you're going to get a free sample pack with your order.
There we go.
Now, back to the video.
All right, again, you guys, thank you for liking and subscribe. The Japanese emperor knows we need it.
Our story begins October 6, 1925, when Hiroshi Miyamura is born in Gallup, New Mexico. He is one of 7 kids. He's the oldest son. He's got 2 brothers and 4 sisters. His parents had migrated to America from Japan because his father, who was from a very wealthy, upstanding family, decided that he was going to get married for love and not status, and married a woman that was beneath his class, and it caused a huge rift in the family, so they moved to America. They came here with nothing. They worked their asses off, eventually got enough money to start their restaurant. They had 7 kids. They embraced being American, and they raised their kids with the same values. Growing up, Hershey had a pretty normal childhood. The only real thing he ever struggled with was not a lot of people could pronounce his name, Hiroshi Miyamura, so Hershey. In 6th grade, his teacher, who just legitimately could not bring herself to say the word Hiroshi for some reason, just started calling him Hershey, and the nickname stuck.
Timothy.
Present.
Thank you.
The other problem he had was he was kind of a runt. He was a small kid. He always wanted to play football, but he was so small the coaches wouldn't even let him play. So he went off and did well in track and boxing. So things are going great.
I mean, why not boxing? Almost every malnourished country out there excels in boxing. If you guys don't realize that.
His family migrated here from Japan. They started a business. They worked their asses off. They're raising successful kids. They're achieving the American dream. But then when he's in high school, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. And then pretty much immediately, FDR steps in, or wheels in, and issues Executive Order 9066.
Execute Order 66.
Which, if you don't know, is basically the American government steps in and tells all of the Japanese Americans, hey, you're going to have to go live in an internment camp for all of World War II. If you have a job, you got to quit. If you have a business, you have to abandon it, lose your house, lose your entire life, go sit inside of a military internment camp. So it's kind of looking like that's what's going to happen to Hershey and his family. They're going to lose the restaurant. They're going to have to go live in an internment camp. Life is going to suck. But then Gallup, New Mexico had their city council and their mayor write a letter and send it to Congress and the president demanding that they not intern their Japanese citizens because those are Americans, and it actually worked. So despite FDR and his best efforts, Hershey and his
That's something that some local governments actually stepped up to protect American citizens.
Family get to go on living a pretty normal life. Buh! You always badmouth FDR. He's one of the greatest presidents in American history. Buh! No, he isn't. He's literally the closest thing America's ever had to a dictator, okay? He's the only president to serve more than 2 terms. He served 4 terms and had to die to get removed from office, just like a dictator. In 1933, he forcefully confiscates all of America's gold at $20 an ounce, and then in 1934, after he's confiscated all the gold, they passed the Gold Reserve Act saying that gold is now worth $35 an ounce. He interned hundreds of thousands of Japanese, German, and Italian Americans.
No, that's something. That's how they came up with the gold reserves. Fort Knox. That's how they control the entire thing. Huh, interesting.
With no due process. During the Great Depression, he ordered farmers to burn their crops while people were starving so that he could artificially inflate the crop value. Because, you know, that's good for the economy. Who cares if people are starving? And then when the Supreme Court stepped in and said that that was unconstitutional, he turned around and threatened to pack the Supreme Court if they didn't pass his policies. He created Social Security, which, unpopular opinion, is a giant fucking Ponzi scheme. He created the NFA because he doesn't like the Second Amendment. And then somehow he gets credited for ending the Great Depression when most economists and historians all unanimously agree that his policies prolonged the Great Depression and it was World War II that pulled us out. So no, I don't like it.
So, the New Deal simply isn't, well, good at all.
FDR, I have my reasons. Quit interrupting my story.
Wow, dodged a bullet there, huh?
Anyways, Hershey goes on, graduates high school, and immediately tries to enlist in the United States military because that's what everybody's doing. He's an American. He wants to go off and fight for his country just like everybody else. So that's what he does. In 1942, he goes off and tries to enlist in the United States military, and they inform him that he is classified as 4C, which means he is an enemy alien and he is not allowed to serve in the United States military. So that kind of
And ergo, the Nisei Battalion was formed. Historically speaking, foreign volunteers are always welcome to serve, but in their own exclusive unit.
But then, like a year later, he receives a draft notice. What Hershey didn't know is while he was being classified as an enemy alien, the United States Army was working on propping up the 442nd Infantry, which was a segregated unit that was almost exclusively made for
segregated unit. That's why I never went through the whole Dean Ambrose, Band of Brothers book. The way he glazed them, but when you know for a fact that these guys wouldn't share a bus ride or a train ride or a ship ride with them, that they would literally be segregated in terms of food and water sources, and they would be angry about it if like a colored person actually tried to mix in with their water fountains or something. So yeah,
the Japanese Americans that had been born in America, also known as the Nisei. I did a whole video on it, but if you haven't seen it, basically these guys would go on to prove not only are they 100% Americans, they're some of the biggest badasses to ever walk the face of the earth because they went on to be one of, if not the most decorated combat units in American history. And now that that's up and running, they could use him. So Hershey officially gets inducted into the United States Army on January 13th, 1944. He goes off, does basic training in Florida. He is then sent to Camp Shelby in Mississippi for advanced infantry training. After that, they're getting ready to go to war. He's kind of excited. They pull him into a room. They interrogate him, trying to make sure, one last check to make sure he's not a spy or a traitor of some kind. During that interrogation, he said, and I quote, "I don't consider myself a Japanese from Japan. I classify myself as an American from New Mexico." Then, as everybody else said, he just graduated.
And they say you just can't seem to understand that little fact.
infantry school with is getting sent off to their units. He and like 5 other dudes get pulled off to the side and are informed that they are all 18 or 17 and you have to be 19 to go overseas. They don't get to go yet. So instead, they send him off to more training. He goes to 13 weeks of heavy weapons training where he gets to...
That's actually a good thing, you know, instead of... They're actually going to be better trained and they'd be better serving as NCOs. In that particular situation.
Become a machine gunner, which is the perfect role for him, okay? Small guy, I know, like the common consensus is you're always picturing the machine gunner as like the big jacked, corn-fed guy from Nebraska. Almost never is that guy the machine gunner, okay? That's the dude kicking the door. The machine gunner every single time is like the 6'2", 110-pound white guy with the birth control glasses that's constantly ripping cigarettes, or it's the small nerdy guy. Every single time. So Hershey goes, graduates heavy weapons school. Now he's 19 years old. They're getting ready to send him over to Europe. And then he goes for his physical and the doctor's like, you have a hernia. And he's like, I don't even know what that is. Didn't know I had one. I'm fine. Send me. And the doctor's like, no, you have to go get it fixed. So he goes, gets his hernia fixed for surgery, takes months to recover. Okay, now he's good. He's ready to go. He gets on the boat. They send him over to Europe. He gets 5 days out from landing in Europe and the entire ship is informed that Hitler has just surrendered.
He died.
Immediately, the rumor goes around that this ship's going to whip a U-turn and they're going to head off to the Pacific, but that never actually happens. They go into Europe. He then spends a period of time basically doing guard duty at German POW camps. Then he gets orders, pack your shit up. We're sending you to the Pacific. He's like, sweet, okay. Starts packing his stuff up, starts getting ready, takes a couple of days, and then they cancel the orders because Japan also just surrendered.
What?
That's just great!
And that's it. That was his World War II. He packs his shit up, he heads back home to America, starts his life. When he gets back home to America, he decides that he wants
Literally, hurry up and wait.
to stay in the Army Reserve, which is what he does. He also goes off to college, comes back home, he's working as an auto mechanic, meets his wife Terry, they get married in 1949, they start having kids. Everything's going fine. Around the same time, his 3-year Army Reserve contract was about to be up, and he decided that he was going to re-enlist for an additional 3 years without running it by his wife.
Why?
You what?
So she's obviously not very happy that he didn't run that decision by her first, but you know, what's the big deal? He's been in the Army Reserve the entire time she's known him. It's just some training, a couple weekends a month, some little bit of time in the summer, a little bit of an adventure for him. What's the worst thing that could happen?
Why? Why?
So like 3 months later, the Korean War starts and he immediately gets activated and sent to California. Obviously, Terry, his wife, is upset. He's like, babe, it's not that big of a deal. I have experience. I was in World War II. I've been doing this for years. They're probably sending me to California to just train new recruits. I'll be safe. It'll be fine. Then his orders get changed. He's still going to California, but only after he goes to Fort Hood, Texas for a 9-week refresher course on infantry tactics.
There we go.
Not looking good, but it's okay. They're probably just, you know, making sure he gets the refresher course so he can go up to California and train all the new recruits. That's probably what's happening. So he goes, finishes the 9-week refresher course. Then they put him on a train headed for...
Again, why? Why re-enlist? Everything's looking fine. They're not the enemy anymore.
California, and wouldn't you know it, the train...
I mean, the enemy are communists now.
...stops in Gallup, New Mexico, and he goes up to his commanding officer and is like, hey, I live like 3 blocks from this train station. Can I run home and say hi to my wife? And the commanding officer, being cool as shit, is like, yeah, but when you hear the train whistle blow, you better fucking be on this train. So he takes off running, runs home, gets to spend 15 minutes with Terry before he has to run back to the train and is sent off to California.
Question is, was a child conceived in that 15 minutes?
To California, he is then told that he is not training new recruits. He is going to Japan for a little bit of more training, and then his ass is going to Korea to be a machine gunner. And now he's got to tell that to his wife. So he gets attached to the 3rd Infantry, gets shipped off to Japan. He's training with his unit, and while he's there, he meets another machine gun section leader, a sergeant by the name of Joe Anello, and they become best friends. They finish up training, they get shipped off to Korea, and they go straight into combat. First time Hershey sees combat, he's ordered to take his machine gun section up onto a ridge that's overlooking the Yalu River. Once he gets up, they're ordered to dig in and hold that line as long as they possibly can. It's 18 guys, Hershey included, and they are dug in on this ridge overlooking this river, and across the river, he can just see hundreds of enemy tents. This is their whole staging area, and this river is where they got to try to hold this line. That night at midnight, they hear a bunch of bugle calls going off and what he describes as trash can lids being smacked together before hundreds of wet commies just come storming
There
up
we
this
go.
ridge, trying to get him and his
Enemies
guys.
coming
Hershey and his
now.
guys just get completely overwhelmed by the sheer number of enemies coming at them. He's only got 18 dudes, including himself, and they are sending hundreds his way. They're able to get some air support. They're able to hold it for a little while, but eventually they get overrun and their own air support starts strafing their position as well, at which point he has to call it and issues a retreat. He never did get to find out why they started strafing his position, whether they thought he was completely overrun, because he definitely didn't call
It's
for
the
them to
army.
attack his
Army don't make mistakes, boy.
position, but whatever. One thing's for sure, this is a giant clusterfuck. Him and
Yes,
his
it
guys
is.
make a clean getaway. From here, they are told to get on a ship, and they're being sent to a port at a place called Hungnam in North Korea. Hershey doesn't realize this yet, but him and his guys are being brought in to support the Marines that are fighting at the Chosin Reservoir, which I've also done an entire video on. Okay, super abbreviated version of what's going on. General MacArthur tells the Marines to penetrate way farther north than they should. They get within 40 miles of the Chinese border. The Chinese sends like 200,000
go.
soldiers south to attack the Marines. They get surrounded. They have to fight their way out, and the only way they're going to get out with their lives is if they can make it to the port at Hungnam so they can get evacuated, and Hershey is going there to support that. That's exactly what happens. Hershey and the 3rd Infantry show up. They set up a perimeter around Hungnam. They get the Marines in there. They get the Marines loaded on ships. They get the civilians loaded on ships. Everybody's crammed in there like sardines. Hershey and his guys board one of the last ships out, and then they blow up the entire city on their way out to deprive the enemy of nice things. From here, they're shipped back down south. They get off the ship. Then they are ordered to go and basically invade North Korea again. And he spends about a month fighting further and further into North Korea. By mid-April 1951, the Chinese and the North Koreans have launched their spring offensive. They're going to throw
Finally.
everything they have at the American lines. And Hershey and his guys are ordered to fall back to the Imjin River. They cross the river, headed back south. Then they're ordered to hold the ridge there with the river as long as they can.
I'm still questioning why re-enlist.
Hershey's in charge of a 13-man machine gun squad and is given 4 extra riflemen for a total of 17 guys. He's got his section that he's holding, and his buddy Joe Anello is holding his machine gun section off to the right, and it's just the entire American forces standing in a line with machine guns trying to hold it as long as they can. That's the strategy. So they go there, they get dug in, they build trenches, they build fortifications. Hershey has his guys go down by the river and set up tripwires and flares that'll set off if the enemy starts coming their direction. And then they just wait. And for a couple of days, nothing really happens. They're just up there on this cliff face, hanging out in a trench, freezing their ass off the entire time. But then, around midnight on April 24th, 1951, he hears it again. Bugles, trash can lids, yelling, and he's like,
I wonder what those
Fucking-
trash can lids are.
here we go. A couple minutes after that, the Chinese hit the trip flares, light up the battlefield, and Hershey issues the order to light them.
That's what they sound like. This is how I remember those flares sounding like. You guys should be glad I'm a VTuber.
Up. And within a couple of minutes, his machine gunner looks at Hershey and says, it's too hot here, I'm gonna leave. And Hershey's like, what the fuck? And the dude just leaves. He abandons his post. So Hershey mans the gun himself by himself, which is a 2-man job. He then proceeds to engage this enemy wave by himself with his machine gun until the gun jams because he doesn't have an assistant gunner helping him feed ammo when it's midnight and he can't see shit. He's looking out of this machine gun nest. There's 10 guys left running right at him. He's not going to be able to unjam this gun in time, so he grabs his M1 with his bayonet, leaves the machine gun nest, and engages 10 enemies by himself, and proceeds to kill all 10 of them in close quarters combat with his rifle and bayonet. He then, with a lull in the
Then with rifle and bayonet.
battle, runs to his second machine gun position. When he gets there, the machine gunner's fucking gone, and there's some riflemen there holding the position. He looks at the riflemen and is like, where the fuck is the gunner? And they're like, I don't know. He later found out that they decided to fall back after a grenade made it into their machine gun nest, but he doesn't know that right now, so he remans the gun and continues engaging the enemy. They continue fighting, we don't know how long, but Hershey describes it as, quote, quite a while, which under these circumstances could have been 5 minutes or it could have been 5 hours. We have no clue. Eventually, Hershey comes to the realization they're about to be completely overrun. They can't stop them all. They're able to penetrate around the perimeter. Eventually, they're going to be completely surrounded any minute. And this is where Hiroshi Miyamura makes the decision that he's going to order all of the rest of his men to retreat, and he's going to hold back the enemy while they do so. And that's exactly what he does. The last time his men saw him, they were making their retreat as they watched Hershey engage wave after wave of enemy soldier with his machine gun, his M1 bayonet, and grenades. Not only does Hershey hold back the enemy long enough.
Did you guys know that, just like the horse thing, when a general is, because, okay, in art, there's like a rule that, that if a general is drawn on a horse or depicted on top of his horse, if both legs of the horse are up, it's just a rule, basically. It's a general rule if a general is depicted, but, we have Napoleon being depicted as such, because the rules, according to that particular rule, if both legs of the horse are up, it means that the general died in battle. If only one of the legs of the general's horse is up, it means he died of his wounds. Like, he was wounded in battle and he died afterwards. Whereas if both legs are on the ground, that means that the general, died of natural causes. And there's some of in terms of depiction, there's also a similar rule that, when a quote-unquote warrior lets go of his scabbard, it means he has no plan of returning or, sheathing back his sword. That it's gonna be, that he doesn't plan on living, after this battle, or living through this battle.
For his men to make a clean getaway, he holds the enemy back for so long that he starts getting his position hit by American artillery because they think he's dead. At this point, Hershey's like, time to fucking go, grabs his M1 and bayonet and starts running through the trenches, starts running through the trails, eventually turns a corner and runs face first into a massive silhouette. It's dark, can't really see who it is, doesn't fire, thinking it's obviously an American because this dude's way too big to be a starving communist. He then sees the Chinese Communist Winter Soldier hat and then sees that he has a grenade in his hand and immediately lunges forward, stabs him, and then fires. When he fires, he stumbles back and falls flat on his back. He then feels the grenade hit his leg and he kicks it back towards the guy. It blows up. He takes shrapnel to his leg, but he doesn't know that yet. Jumps back up and starts running towards
adrenaline's running, coursing through his body.
American lines as fast as he can. He's making his way there. He makes it like 500 yards and he sees an American tank off in the distance. So he starts running towards this tank because obviously that's going to help in this situation. And as he's making it there, he gets a couple of yards away and runs into a barbed wire entanglement in the darkness. He's tangled up in this barbed wire. He's getting all cut up. He's screaming and yelling and waving at this tank, but the tank motor's on. They can't hear him and they rumble off. In hindsight, he said that was probably a good thing because he was an Asian guy on the wrong side of the barbed wire. They might have just shot him. Regardless, he gets himself out of this barbed wire, doesn't know what to do.
Johnny Cho. He's this, he's a Texan-born Korean and he has a Texan accent. So he was born in New Mexico. He must have had a New Mexico accent.
The entire
even if he was screaming for them to help him.
Battlefield's completely overrun with enemy soldiers. They're everywhere. So he just
you guys remember that comedian talking about what's that clicking noise?
Finds this little gully, lays down, and tries to hide. He's laying there for about an hour. It starts to get light out, and then he keeps laying there. He's hearing footsteps. He's hearing enemy soldiers talking, and then eventually it gets quiet for a little while, and he's like, okay, maybe they moved on. Might have made it through this. And then cutting through the silence, he hears in perfect English, "Get up, you're my prisoner now." So he quits playing dead, he turns around, he looks, it's a Chinese officer that's somehow speaking perfect English, but he follows his commands, he turns over his weapon, and then they start marching him to God knows where. He's definitely feeling his leg wound now, he's limping. They march him back to his old position, and there is like 40 to 50 dead enemies laying on the field where he made his last stand. They keep marching. They go past his original position. There's more dead guys. We would later find out that it was confirmed by Allied forces that had retaken this area, and he was officially credited with killing over 40 enemies, 10 of which was in hand-to-hand combat with M1 Grand and bayonet.
Yeah, I stabbed a man in the heart. I saw that. Rick killed a guy.
They keep going past those positions. They keep marching him further and further into enemy territory when they finally link up with another unit and they throw him in with 8 other POWs that are Americans, and everybody's wounded. And in that group of 8 other POWs, wouldn't you know it, one of them is Joe Anello, and he is jacked up. He's been shot in the legs. He's been hit with a grenade. He is not doing good. He can't even walk on his own. Hershey, even though he's also jacked up, starts giving first aid to all the other men the best he can with what little he has. And then after a while, the interpreter, the Chinese guy that for some reason speaks perfect English, comes back up and says, hey, here's the deal. We don't have enough prisoners to send you guys back to an actual POW camp yet, so you're just gonna follow our infantry until we capture more prisoners, and then once we have enough, we'll send you marching back to a POW camp in North Korea. So they do what they're told. It's the only thing they can do. They get up and they start following this enemy infantry battalion as they try to penetrate further into American territory. The problem is Joe Anello, his best friend, can't walk. So Hershey carries him for 10 miles. Obviously, carrying another grown man for 10 miles is a task in that of itself, but doing it with a leg wound you also have is virtually impossible, and as much as Hershey tries, he just can't manage to keep up with the rest of the formation, and then eventually the interpreter comes back and tells him, leave him where he's at or I'm gonna shoot both of you. And before Hershey can even think to decide what he's going to do in this situation, is he going to try to fight and save his buddy against a whole infantry battalion? Is he going to leave him? Is he going to argue with him and wind up getting both of them shot? And before he can make a decision, Joe looks at Hershey and says, it's fine. Leave me. You did everything you could. And Hershey is forced to leave his best friend to die. From here, Hershey is in the rear following this enemy infantry unit as they conduct combat operations for 2 weeks straight until they gain enough POWs to transfer him to a different unit and have him shipped to a POW camp. And during that 2 weeks, they do not feed him or render any medical aid whatsoever. After that 2 weeks, they finally get enough POWs that they are going to hand them off to a different unit and march them 400 miles further into North Korea, where there will be a POW camp. The officer that they're handed off to also speaks English, and he makes sure that each one of the POWs gets this sack that basically looks like a big tube sock, and inside that sack is rice and ground up barley that they unaffectionately nicknamed bug dust, and the officer informs them that this will be your weekly rations. You will have 1 tube sock of bug dust every week. Here's what you're supposed to do with it. You're supposed to take a big mouthful of bug dust, rinse it down with water, and it'll expand in your stomach and make you feel full. And that's all they have to eat for the next 30 days on their 400-mile forced march through the Korean winter up and down the hilly terrains of North Korea. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that they're not going to give them any actual fresh water, so they just have to get water from puddles, streams, whatever water they can find along the way. And all Hershey can think about is how he was told ad nauseum, whatever you do not just drink the water in North Korea, because in this part of the world, they use human feces for fertilizer, so you're effectively drinking human shit. You will get dysentery and you will probably die. But Hershey doesn't really have a lot of options, so that's what he does. After a month of forced marching eating bug dust, they make it to their POW camp, which is basically a small village in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, North Korea. And Hershey and 9 other POWs are assigned to a 9-foot by 10-foot hut where they're going to be living. Nothing in it, dirt floor, just 10 dudes in a 9-foot by 10-foot hut sleeping head to foot, shoulder to shoulder the entire time. Around this time, Hershey and pretty much everybody else has still not received any medical aid, and he becomes very aware that he's not gonna receive any medical aid, so he acquires salt.
Is this a breakout story? Are they gonna break out of prison?
And rubs that into his leg wounds to try to prevent it from getting infected. Luckily, that works, and then they kind of get thrown into their POW life routine, and that routine is to wake up every morning. For breakfast, they get a cup, like a literal 1 measured cup of soy milk for their breakfast, and then they are forced marched out to where there's a bunch of trees and forced to cut down trees for firewood. After they cut down enough firewood for the day, they're marched back, and then they have to...
No prisoner exchanges are happening?
Sit there and listen to propaganda and brainwashing as the Koreans and Chinese guys force them to read communist pamphlets and material, and then force them to sit around in a group like it's an AA meeting and talk about how horrific capitalism is and how bad America is and how this is clearly the better way of life, which is a bold strategy when you have somebody sleeping in a hut with 10 other dudes head to foot, shoulder to shoulder while you're at...
It's never gonna work if you've had a hamburger. It doesn't work the other way. Right?
Actively starving them to death, being like, you see how much your way of life fucking sucks back where you had a house and a car and a wife and kids and food?
And a hamburger.
Food? Yeah, this is way better.
The flavor of Caesar salad.
Obviously, Hershey and pretty much everybody else just isn't buying it, but they have to sit there and nod and be like, yeah, no, definitely, this is awesome. Also, don't shoot me. And that is his daily life routine for the next 26 months straight. 2 fucking years he goes through this bullshit. And then one day, a bunch of trucks pull up to the POW camp, and they're like, get your ass on the trucks. And they're like, well, this is it. And all he can think about is like World War II, like, you know, Nazi death trains, like they're sending him off to the kill camp. Game over. But I mean, really, what are you going to do? You want to get shot here now, or you want to get shot at whatever the fuck they got going on at the other end of this truck? So he gets on the truck. They're on the truck for days and days. And then eventually the trucks drive them to a place called Punjang, also known today as the Freedom Village, which is basically the dividing line between North and South Korea. The Korean War is over, and this is where the Americans and the North Koreans exchange prisoners. They get off the truck, they get handed off to the Americans take them, they get them a shower, scrub the shit out of them, trying to get all the lice and infection and nasty shit off of them. They give them food, medical attention, and then they get all the POWs into a barracks, and for the first time in 2 years, he gets to lay down on a bed. And as everybody's laying on these beds trying to come to grips with reality that, holy shit, I made it, this isn't a dream, I'm actually gonna make it back home to America, an officer walks in and calls Hiroshi Miyamura by name and tells him that the general wants to speak with him. At this point, Hershey's shitting his pants, he's thinking he's in trouble, whatever happened with his men, whatever happened back on the hill 2 years ago, like, he's gonna get in trouble for it, now he's gonna go to an American jail. At least it'll be better than a North Korean jail, but this still sucks. He's wearing pajamas and slippers, because that's all the army gave him, and he walks into this general's office. Also worth mentioning, he's 5'10". He is my height, and he weighs 90 pounds. He has been so thoroughly starved. So, 90-pound, 5'10" Hershey walks into the general's office in pajamas, thinking he's about to get thrown in jail. The general of the 3rd Infantry Division then stands up, shakes his hand, and congratulates him, telling him that not only
they didn't even tell him to button up? Why?
Was he promoted?
Why? Just like his re-enlistment. Why?
While he was in a prisoner camp, he's also being awarded the Medal of Honor. Technically, he's already received the Medal of Honor. It's done, it's set in stone, it's been approved, because the last time his men saw him, they told the chain of command that he was engaging overwhelming odds by himself so that they could escape. And when they went back to do the investigation, they found 40 to 50 dead enemies, all credited to Hershey, 10 of which were killed by bayonet. So technically, on paper, Hershey had already been awarded the Medal of Honor over a year ago, but they never recovered his body, so there was still a small chance that he was alive. So the American government issued the Medal of Honor, but classified it as top secret because they didn't want it to go out to the public, because if the Chinese...
Reprisals, alright, they were afraid of reprisals, that they were going to kill him for killing 50 of their guys. So yeah, they had to keep it secret, or else, they're afraid that they might take revenge for what he did.
Communists found out that this badass dude named Hershey had killed 50 of their guys by himself. They probably would have killed him in his captivity, so it was classified. Hershey's shocked. I mean, he's happy, but he's shocked. He doesn't feel like...
I thought it was a bad thing that, you can't let, Japanese win the Medal of Honor like this or something. Anyways, it's a good thing.
He deserves the Medal of Honor. In his own words, he was just doing his duty. He didn't think he did anything special.
Yeah, now he has to answer why. Why did he re-enlist?
From here, his family's notified that he survived and he's going to make it home. He's then rushed back to America on a ship, and it is arranged for him to be the first one to walk down the gangplank of the ship to a crowd of cheering people and his family. He gets formally awarded the...
Yeah, he's going to be the poster boy as a form of, reconciliation with the Japanese now that they're fighting the communists. They need everything and everyone on their side now.
The Medal of Honor by President Eisenhower. He goes back home to Gallup, New Mexico. They throw a parade. He's a local hero. He finds out that his own town, the same town that was awesome enough to demand the U.S. government not throw his family in an internment camp, also raised over $3,800 in the 1950s to give to him to help start his life back up after being in captivity for over 2 years. And from here, he just gets to go back to a normal life. He applies for a job at the local army depot. They never get back to him, so he takes a job working at an auto parts store in Gallup, New Mexico. And that's it. He gets to live happily ever after. He's back with Terry. His dad's still around. They end up having 3 kids together. He's raising the kids. He's achieved the American dream, the same American dream that he fought for. But then something amazing happens, because 5 years later, 7 years after he had been captured on the battlefield, he's at the auto parts store stocking a shelf, and he turns around and comes eye to eye with Joe Anello.
Oh, that's
and he
awesome.
Turns paper white and just says, "You're dead." And Joe says, "No, I'm not. Thanks to you." And he then tells Hershey that he survived in the wilderness right where Hershey was forced to leave him for 10 days until American forces came back and found him. And he survived. Joe and Hershey then remained best friends for the rest of their lives, and everybody actually got to live happily ever after. For once. Thank you for watching. So awesome. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch, maybe drink some Echelon. Links for all that's over at FatElectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Bye!
The coolest part for me with these videos is that I've done so many now, I'm really starting to see a lot of overlap in them. Like, it's really cool to know so much about the Chosen
I mean, there's only so much World War II stuff we can cover.
Reservoir and about the 442nd Infantry Division, and then I learn about somebody incredible like Hiroshi Miyamura, and he just has these cool cameos throughout these major events in histories. Like, he's got a cameo with one of the coolest units in American history, and then he's got a cameo with one of the greatest battles the Marine Corps ever fought, and then he rises and has his moment in history. And I don't know.
This is like when superheroes do cameos in another superhero story. Like Marvel and
That's
DC.
just the cool part to me, the overlap.
All right.
See you guys later.
Bye! Okay. It's next. Yes, there we go.
Trench Crusade that a lot of people don't realize when they first get in.
Hold on. There we go. Okay, we have to repeat the story. Okay. There we go. Repeated. Hold on, you guys. I'm just gonna run to the bathroom this time, okay? Alright, we're back. Hold on. Alright, explaining the entire Trench Crusade timeline in 20 minutes. Here's the thing, right? About last year, I was invited by the local community to do a demo. But I just, had so many things, in line, that, I even became part of the National Commission for Tabletop Thingies. But the thing is, I sort of remembered now because I was at that Bolt Action event, and I ran into one of their players, into one of their community members, and you know what? They've been growing steadily, and I just remembered, oh my god, I realized now that they invited me in for a demo. Might as well You know what? As soon as I get an opening, I will. But for now, I believe like we have to restart the whole thing. In the sense that we just did that Goetic Warlock thing about a week back. And Goetic Warlock about a week back. So now when I think about it, I've sort of like, forgotten like what's left or how to handle this or what to do with the trailer or the timeline or the trailer with the timeline of the lore of Trench Crusade. So yeah, here we are. We're repeating the whole thing. Already liked it. Here we go.
So here's the thing about Trench Crusade that a lot of people don't realize when they first get into it, and it took me a while to fully appreciate as well. It's not just a cool grimdark aesthetic slapped onto a World War I setting, because there's a full 800 years of documented, interconnected, deeply considered.
Here's the thing, I sort of remember now, in one of the videos that we covered, when this map was released like last year, some of the creators were disappointed that, oh my god, we thought that, humanity or the world was being overrun by demons and stuff, but look at this! Like, look at the rest of the map, it seems like we're doing fine. So, yeah, I'm starting to remember now. Hold on. Alright, let's keep on going.
History behind why the world looks the way it does when you sit down to play in 1914. And that history is genuinely fascinating in a way that a lot of world building in this genre just isn't. It's a story of one catastrophically bad decision made by a group of knights in Jerusalem that sent the entire world down a completely different path. And everything that happened after is a slow building cascade of consequences that are still playing out when the game takes place. So let's go through it properly. From the moment the gate opened to the moment the trenches were dug and the altar of Leviathan washed up on an unknown shore. This is the complete timeline of Trench Crusade.
There we go. Oh, new art. Amazing.
We have to start before 1099 though, because the lore goes back further than the
Because last year, there was only like a limited amount of art. So yeah, I'm guessing we're gonna see a few new ones now. Because like, this one's an old piece of art from last year.
Exciting incident, and those earlier events actually matter for understanding why things unfolded the way they did. Around 746 BC, a battle called the Battle of Ebenezer takes place, and ominous celestial signs begin appearing across the world that scholars will later interpret as warnings of a
This one's new. The Battle of Ebenezer, the warning throughout the sky. This one's new. This wasn't here yet. Last year.
Disruption to God's plan. Signs that something was already wrong in the spiritual architecture of creation long before anyone in Jerusalem did anything stupid. Then in 1072, the Order of the Knights Templar is established, which is notably earlier than in our world, where they didn't form until 1118. This divergence point is important because it means the Templars arrived in Jerusalem with more time, organization, and opportunity to find whatever it was they found there. And the lore is quite clear that whatever they found wasn't a demonic artifact, but rather something holy, possibly one of the holiest objects in existence, which they then proceeded to completely misuse. And then we hit 1099, and in a very real sense, the world ends. Well, not literally, but practically speaking, the consequences are so total and so permanent that it amounts to the same thing. The First Crusade captures Jerusalem, which matches our history, and then almost immediately afterward, a group of Templars discover something in the ruins of the Holy City, something they shouldn't have touched, and they study it, and they make contact with forces they don't understand, and they open a gate to hell directly on Earth in the middle of Jerusalem. The city's destroyed in the cataclysm that follows, and it's replaced.
So just to clarify, Jerusalem is no more.
By a yawning mouth of hell, where the holiest city in
That's something, a yawning mouth of hell.
Christendom used to stand. The lore officially calls this the act of ultimate heresy, and the deliberate vagueness about the exact mechanics of what the Templars did is the right creative choice, because whatever your imagination generates is probably worse than any specific answer could be.
There we go.
By 1101, which the
So here's the thing, right? There was this early 2K film. It was a vampire. It was a horror a horror thriller film with vampires. Title was The Forsaken. In that particular film, they discussed that the history of the vampires was again the Holy Land or the Crusades in Jerusalem. And there was this one battle where Templar Knights basically lost that battle, alright? And that nightfall, there were survivors, and then some sort of a being appeared to them, must have been a demon or something. And they offered a deal, your life in order to get out of here. They were in the middle of the desert. So, some took the deal. So what they did, or at least, the deal was, in order to seal the deal, is they have to like kill and drink the blood of those who didn't take the deal. So come morning, when the survivors or those who took the deal, they couldn't bear to look at each other, and therefore, that's why, in shame, they refused to go out in sunlight for what they did. So I guess that's where the part where vampires don't go out into the light or something. But anyways, it's a bit something that it's coincidentally that they provided the same lore in that film for vampires as to how demons got out in the world.
The lore calls the Year of Three Battles. Everyone's realized this isn't something that can simply be cleaned up or managed. Heretic forces pour out of the ruins of Jerusalem, reinforced by the armies of the Third Circle of Hell itself, and within 2 years they've conquered most of the Levant. One of the first and most catastrophic dominoes to fall is Egypt, and this is worth talking about because it's a story that doesn't get enough attention. The Fatimid Caliphate of Egypt rushes their army north to defend the Levant, force marching across the desert in a desperate bid to help, but they march straight into an ambush. The Caliph himself falls in battle, surrounded by the bodies of his bodyguard, and the servants of hell build grotesque monuments from their dismembered remains. What follows makes everything worse. News spreads that the Iron Wall of God has manifested in Anatolia, and millions of Egyptian Muslims begin migrating toward it, draining the Fatimid Caliphate of the people and warriors it desperately needs. The caliphate collapses under the twin weight of catastrophic military defeat and mass population exodus, and in the power vacuum that follows, the Mamluks, an elite slave warrior caste, step forward, claim the empty throne, and reorganize what's left into a Mamluk sultanate.
That won't work.
Egypt survives, but it's fundamentally changed, and by 1914, most of what was once Egypt has fallen under the shadow of hell and the Prince of Greed, with even Alexandria and Cairo serving as anchorage for the heretic fleet. Back in the Levant, the ancient city of Antioch becomes the last major fortified stronghold of resistance in 11.
I honestly like it now because last year there were although there were already a lot of creators covering Trench Crusade, most of them were based on speculation, or they were based on anecdotal evidence, based on what they've read, based on what they've known, because officially the developer Games Fortress hasn't put out that much material yet that they can work with. So most of their work, or most of the creators' work were left with speculation. They only speculated that this must be it, that must be it. But now they've actually provided stories now, official stories now. So it's cool. It's awesome that we now have a singular direction as to how to tell these stories. With regards to Trench Crusade.
1102, the city that absolutely has to hold if there's to be any chance of keeping hell contained at all. Then in 1106, something interesting happens on the heretic side of things, because a figure named Kobar becomes the first tyrant of the 66, which is the political governing council of the heretic nations. This tells you something important about the world that pure demon hordes wouldn't. The people who sided with hell aren't just mindless servants of darkness, and within 7 years of the gate opening, they already have political structure, institutions, and the organizational capacity of a proper nation state, which is genuinely more unsettling than the alternative would be. Then 1109 arrives. And
hold up. There's something. Wait. In this last year, when we were covering some stories regarding Trench Crusade, we always saw the legions of hell as slaves. But now this is something that they have actual willing volunteers. I remember this Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Hold on. Okay. I honestly can't remember Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh yeah, movie Hell, about Hell. Hold on. Well, hold on. Movie about Hell, not movie Hell. Hold on. The End of Days. Yes. Here's the thing, right? In that particular movie, in 1999, End of Days, 1999. Basically Arnold Schwarzenegger was somehow connected to hell or something, and the apocalypse was coming. Anyways, but no, he wasn't do that since he was the protagonist. He was going to fight on the God side or on the side of Reed. He was a police officer, and here's what happened. He was basically betrayed by one of their police officers. So one of his partners actually, and he asked, why would you do this? Why would you betray heaven? Why would you betray me? And then he points a gun at him and says, come on, John, after everything we've done, after everything we've been through, do you really think we're going to heaven? We're going down, so might as well get the best seats in the house. Which is, what, that sort of makes sense that, there are people out there who are aware that, they've done bad things, that they've done evil things, that they know for a fact that they're never gonna get into heaven. So I'm guessing it does make sense that, from this perspective or in this situation that, what? I'm never gonna reach heaven, and hell's here. Might as well, join their side. Might as well get the best seats in the house. Right? Might as well secure the best seats in the house. So yeah, I'm sorry. I just remember that that scene in that film, 1999, End of Days, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, there are some people there who are aware of their own evil, that they will fight on the side of hell or on the side of evil, because they know for a fact that that's where they're going. And there's nothing for them if they fight on God's side.
Something miraculous happens on the other side of the conflict that changes everything for the faithful. The great sultanate of the invincible iron wall of the two horns that pierce the sky is formed, which everyone just calls the Iron Sultanate. And with it comes one of the most extraordinary pieces of lore in the entire setting. The Iron Wall of Du Al-Qarnayn, the legendary wall from Islamic tradition built by the great conqueror to hold back Gog and Magog, physically manifests in the lands of the Sultan of Rum.
What?
God intervenes directly and gives the Muslim faithful a physical fortification of supernatural strength stretching tens of thousands of kilometers. And
that is something that the Islamic God manifested himself to provide for his Muslim and Islamic faithful. The implications. Just imagine, right, that the Islamic God literally manifested his power by providing a wall. I mean, in the Bible you have Moses parting the Red Sea, but just imagine the implications. Like, what about the Christian God? Where is he in all of this? If the Islamic God, provided a wall for his Islamic faithful, what about the Christian God? What has he done for his Christian faithful? Oh, interesting.
Millions of believers migrate across burning, demon-infested lands to reach it over the coming decades, with millions dying along the way. But enough survive that when the gates of Al-Qarnayn close, the Iron Sultanate's real, and the wall that heretic artillery has spent over 800 years trying to bring down still stands completely unscratched in 1914. In 1117, 17 remarkably brave and arguably quite unwise souls, called the 17 Martyrs, decide that the correct response to hell being on Earth is to personally travel into its earthly domains and try to convert the heretics through preaching. The outcomes...
I mean, that's not a bad plan, IRL. Christian missionaries have gone into places that was known to be actually dangerous for Christian missionaries. Despite the fact that they know that, the previous missionaries who went here were killed, tortured, or whatever. Yet they still went in. So, IRL, it makes sense.
exactly what anyone paying attention would have predicted, because they're captured, tortured, and sealed inside white-hot brazen bowls, which is the ancient Greek torture device where you close someone inside a hollow bronze bowl and light a fire underneath it. According to the lore, they're still in there in 1914, still in agony nearly 800 years later.
Hold up. I have to answer something. No, people are calling me at work and I have to answer my phone. I'm just gonna look down for like a few minutes. And hold on. So... Sorry. Honestly, just answering the phone right now. Hold on. Wait. Oh, come on, you guys. Hold on. Poms. Okay, so Christian mission. Okay, hold up. Christian missionaries getting roasted. Yeah, quite normal. And again, it has been known that Christian missionaries have gone into places where they know for a fact, where it is a recorded fact that Christian missionaries have been killed / tortured before going into such an area.
This as a simple fact of the world with no particular emotion attached to it, which is exactly the tone that makes Trench Crusade work as a setting. Moving to 1165, and the Old Man of the Mountain establishes his Hashashin order at the mountain fortress of Alamut, founding what will become one of the Iron Sultanate's most feared assets in the long war ahead, the Assassins, who bend space and time through sacred rituals and powerful alchemical hallucinogens. By 1914, Alamut's been under continuous siege by heretic forces for hundreds of years and hasn't once fallen, which says more about the...
At a certain point, there's a reason why a fortress is so secretive, and it could be that they are using the powers that are beyond them or powers that they're not supposed to use. Fight fire with fire. Hold up. Ah. There we go.
Those assassins than any combat statistic could. The period from 1215 to 1306 is called the Wars of Triclavianism, and this is the part of the timeline where the faithful demonstrate their extraordinary capacity for shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
An internal theological dispute tears the church apart into warring factions, and while Christians are busy
because why not, right? You're already on the back. You're already backpedaling from hellish forces, from the forces of hell. Might as well fight amongst each other the best way about the best way on how to actually win against the forces of hell. Why not add to the problem?
Burning each other at the stake over doctrine, the heretic domains expand steadily because nobody's defending the borders. Millions die, entire regions are lost, and the lasting consequence of this period is that the war's still ongoing in 1914, in part because the people tasked with fighting hell decided to fight each other first.
Yep.
The wars of
sounds about right. Something, humans would do. Might as well add ourselves into the problem. Because apparently, the forces of hell coming after you isn't enough. Might as well go after each other.
Triclavianism also explain a lot about why the faithful's political structures are so fractious and contentious when the game takes place, because those old wounds don't fully heal in 800 years. Sometime in this period, the first communicants are also created.
New art! There's new art!
Though the lore is deliberately vague about exactly when the Mentalist Order first managed to produce the grotesquely mutated superhuman warriors who carry cloned traces of the Redeemer's blood. What we know is
it's on our side! Alright, I thought it was on Hell's side. It was swinging around the dead body, and it looked like it was running after a normal human being. It's on our side, and it's new art. Alright. And it has like a priest behind him. Machine gun priest for his reload.
The Mentalist Order's been active since at least the 17th century, which means the church's super soldier program's been running for hundreds of years by 1914. And the paladins who represent its absolute peak are warriors capable of entering hell itself and coming back alive. Then, in 1346, Beelzebub decides to enter the war personally in the most catastrophically effective way imaginable, in the Black Grails unleashed upon the world. Tens of millions of people are infected by the worst plague in recorded history, a supernatural disease created in the bowels of the seventh layer of hell itself that doesn't simply kill you, but turns your reanimated corpse into a walking vessel for Beelzebub's corruption, lurching back to its feet to spread the infection further and further outward. The Corpse Wars begin, a period of absolute catastrophe for the faithful that spans decades and very nearly destroys whatever remains of Christian and Muslim civilization in Europe and the Middle East. The Black Grail's indiscriminate, infecting not just humans, but animals and insects and anything with biological matter, and the lore notes with characteristic bluntness that it destroys the body while leaving the mind fully intact.
I guess. I mean, Papa Nurgle loves all, but I sort of wish that they would have, because obviously, from the creators of 40K, you have some creators that walked over, so you could definitely see in some of the units and some of the lore about the 40K inspired or Warhammer inspired novelties, from monsters to units, but I just wish they should have, they could have just shifted a little bit from Nurgle. Because it seems like, a plague is too easy. A plague is too easy. Like, why didn't, they for me, I would have preferred they would have dealt, something different, like a Zinch, I guess, number of possession. So imagine instead of plague dying from the plague, why not death from possession or something, where people would get possessed to fight on the side of evil. something Zinch-like. I'm pretty sure they could have written their way around that. It's sort of a bit of a placeholder. It feels like, they just shooed in a Nurgle, Beelzebub as Nurgle, because it was the easiest form, or it was the easiest way to put in. It feels a bit lazy for me. They could have gone with anything. They could have gone with a Zinch-like, possessive demon of possession or something, but no. They went with Papa Nurgle again.
Tact to experience every moment of the process. Moving to 1429, and the world saved by Joan of Arc. Except that in Trench Crusade, Joan of Arc's a literal living saint with genuine divine power, and what she saves the world from is a hegemon of the Black Grail, a 100-foot armored titan with the strategic intelligence of a fallen angel, born from the ritual sacrifice of millions of innocents. She defeats it at the Battle of Valence, the Black Grails driven from mainland Europe, and the Corpse Wars end. The surviving members of Beelzebub's military cult are either cursed by their master and cast out to wander the earth forever, or they retreat south and storm the city of Avignon, establishing what's now a festering center of corruption and plague that the faithful have been trying to contain for nearly 5 centuries.
See, again, Papa Nurgle loves all. Alright, there we go. So, anyways, Papa Nurgle loves all. So yeah, it seems like a bit of a cop-out that they went for the easiest antagonist, which is Papa Nurgle. Like, here's disease, here's something disgusting, here's someone's intestines falling out. I mean, they could have done so well. I mean, The Exorcist, still one of the scariest films out there. So imagine if you had a Zinch-like demon possessing, entire continents or entire regions or something. People would just blah, 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 and then suddenly attack Christian forces or something. So yeah, something Harry Potter-ish Unforgivable Curse. What was that? Someone imagine the Imperio Curse. You never know who's on the side of hell. So yeah, but still, they went with the Papa Nurgle route, which feels like a bit of a cop-out for me.
Afterward. So if you also don't want to be infected by the plague, make sure to like and subscribe.
Yeah, you heard the man, guys. Thank you for the likes and subscribe. The good Lord knows we need it.
In 1477, the city of Argos is taken by God and simply ceases to exist. There's no explanation given in the lore, and the entry just sits there in the timeline like a perfectly matter-of-fact statement about something incomprehensible. And the lore just moves on. By 1503, a war prophet named Angelos, guided by Saint Eligius, discovers the formula for orichalcum steel, a miraculous metal capable of resisting all missile weapons, and while it's extremely costly to produce, this discovery gives the faithful their own technological marvel to counter Hell's supernatural advantages, and it's still in use 400 years later in 1914. Then 1545 and Old Antioch, the city fortified in 1102, the city that held as the last line of resistance for 443 years, is destroyed utterly by a mysterious infernal weapon.
Of course.
The garrison holds on in the ruins despite everything, refusing to abandon their positions even as a demonic crater radiates lethal essence into the rubble around them. And in 1559, the Sword Congress of Vienna formally agrees to rebuild and fortify the city, committing to a yearly tithe from...
This is completely new. This is completely new. Because last time, or last year, the creators were all about, speculating that this or that, bits and pieces. But now, it seems that the developers have actually released appropriate information as to, provide a direction for these creators. So yeah, I like it.
All faithful nations to fund the construction. The walls of New Antioch are finally completed in 1595, featuring 77 mighty towers with hundreds of anchorite shrines embedded directly into the walls, keeping watch day and night. In all the sieges that follow, those walls...
I believe we did something on the anchorite shrines last year. Check it out.
Walls are never breached. In 1570...
Walls are never breached. Hold on. Here's what I was talking about earlier. If the Islamic God manifested its love for its Islamic faithful by creating a wall by through miraculous means, what about the Christian God on this particular one? Just imagine the implication in terms of lore. Because this one, the Christians built this wall. They had to build this wall. Whereas the Muslims automatically got a new one from their God. So yeah. Imagine the implications that the Christians were left to build their own wall.
73, the Sacred Order of the Dragon, which is essentially what happens when you take the legacy of Vlad the Impaler and build a holy military order around it, halts the heretic advance into Europe following the destruction of Byzantium by impaling approximately 1 million heretics in the hills of Wallachia. Constantinople was lost, but Europe holds.
Europe holds.
Then comes 1666, which the lore calls the Year of Six Woes.
The Year of Six Woes. The Year of Six Woes. Here's the thing, right? It's been one loss for the faithful, one after the other. Yet for some reason we are holding on to the majority of the world. Maybe things really aren't that bad. Because it's literally one wall after the other. One woe after the other. Like, it seems like, we're losing every battle, but check this out. How come we're still holding on to, like, the majority of the world? Anyways, see Baghdad's over there. Aleppo, New Damascus, the Sultanate. Sultanate surrounded on all sides. Kingdom of Numidia. So, it seems like Naples, Rome. So a big swath of okay, so mainline Europe still out. So basically it's one front after the other. It seems like, you know what, we're doing well. We're doing it a bit well. Right? Seems like, Eastern Europe still up, Western Europe still, doing fine, England solid. You've got Spain, but it seems like Portugal's on the back foot. Morocco and the Moroccan border water border's been breached, but it seems like, Africa's holding. Yeah. See, I mean, it's been one woe after the other, but it seems like we're holding. Right? It seems like, humanity's doing fine.
And Trench Crusade demonstrates its genuine understanding of strategic geography in a way most fantasy settings don't bother with. The heretic fleet, newly created and completely unexpected, captures Gibraltar in a surprise raid and immediately turns the sea fortress into their base of operations against Europe. This isn't just a military victory, but a geographic catastrophe, because the Strait of Gibraltar's 13 kilometers wide at its narrowest point and controls the only passage between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. And hell now has that choke point for the first time in the entire war.
They now have a choke point in the Mediterranean. But, yeah.
Atlantic coastline in Europe suddenly vulnerable in a way it wasn't the day before, and England specifically begins construction of the Fortress of the White Cliffs starting in 1670 because the English Channel's now a potential front line rather than a natural defense. In 1703, the Hebrew Knights pull off one of the great covert operations in the war's history, when a small force striking...
There are Hebrew Knights, there are Hebrew... Is there a new thing? Because, apart from you've got the Iron Sultanate, and then last year, the Prussians, the Prussian units, or, the Prussian faction was introduced. So, there are Hebrew Knights... So yeah, interesting.
From their secret fortress, manages to destroy the Templar stronghold at Acre, eliminating one of the few remaining physical legacies of the original Templars who caused everything in the first place. Then in 1721, the Third Siege of New Antioch is lifted, when Sultan Ibrahim arrives at the head of combined forces, reinforced by Tughlaq warriors from the east and a relief fleet from the Papal States from the west. The heretics are pushed back and the city survives its third great siege. Sometime after this, Admiral Aminadab launches the Grand Fleet of the heretic forces in a full invasion of the Scottish Highlands, kicking off decades of bitter guerrilla warfare as the Scots fight to expel the invaders from their territory. Then comes 1805, and one of the most significant naval disasters the faithful have ever suffered. The heretic fleet under High Captain Ranga defeats the fleet of England.
The High Captain Ranga. I wonder what evil has he done in his life that he'd side willingly with hell. Alright.
England in the Battle of the Bloodied Cliffs, and Admiral Nelson...
Is that a reference to the Red Cliff?
...killed in combat. Though Nelson's rearguard action causes the destruction of the heretic flagship and allows the remnants of the Royal Navy to limp home, the Royal Navy's largely destroyed as a fighting force, and the entire subsequent British strategic postures shaped by this loss. It leads directly to the construction of the moving fortress of Britannia, built as Nelson's dying wish.
So I'm guessing Britannia no longer ruled the waves. But it seems like we have something here, something new.
Made physical. Completed in 1907, it's a mobile fleet carrier and battleship capable of traversing both land and sea, carrying 10,000 Knights of St. George.
I guess it still rules the waves then. I was wrong, my bad.
And an entire armored core, and is the only faithful vessel capable of engaging heretic behemoth-class warships in direct combat. But in 1807, fresh from their naval dominance, the heretic forces invade Ireland. The invasion's carefully prepared by the heretic lord Zachar the Conqueror, who's made a pact with a dark cult to seed famine and disorder across the island before the fleet ever arrives. When it does, the High King Murdoch falls in battle. Most of Ireland's coastal cities fall within weeks, and a hell portal's ripped open at the Lake of Polan Ifrin to bring in the forces of the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent as reinforcements.
There we go.
The rest of the faithful world writes Ireland off as lost. Most of it stays lost for 83 years, until the young Queen Brigid takes the throne and does something extraordinary. She lifts the ancient ban on the Fianna.
I'm gonna have to take a look at the map and see what's up. Because so far it seems like in this particular map, Britain is solid. Yet, Ireland's written off as lost or something. It looks like Britain is still solid based on the map.
The old hunter warriors of Ireland marries the brilliant low-born general Domhnall, and then writes a single letter to the Pope asking for just one warrior to help her people. When the Pope agrees, she audaciously requests Paladin Ansace specifically. A Fianna raid sinks Zachar's flagship.
I've never even heard of a Paladin Ansace.
By blowing up its ammunition cache at the cost of the raider's life, while Ansace storms the Hellgate alone and seals it from the inside at the cost of one of his eyes.
So they did recover. Alright, this is the history of why Britain still stands.
Heretic forces collapse without their leader and their portal. The Era Rangers who fight in 1914 are the inheritors of that tradition, and to this day, the Irish send their finest skirmishers to serve New Antioch in memory of every one of the Duke's bodyguards who died in that campaign.
Interesting.
In 1866, heretic scientists working with the demon Marbas construct the first modern submarines in complete secrecy, and by 1870, they're
it's not surprising. I mean, IRLs, scientific people or scientifically inclined organizations, have sided with quote unquote evil. There's the Japanese Unit 731. There was the Nazi scientists who did their thing. They did their research in the most unethical way, since there was no longer anyone to stop them, and they had the perfect, their prisoners or the repressed people was the perfect subject, because no one's going to look for them, no one's going to castigate them for it. So yeah, totally not surprised that heretics would side with hell, that some scientists would side with hell.
Operating out of Gibraltar and strangling European merchant shipping, leading to widespread famine. Then, in 1872, heretic forces storm the Italian city of Rijeka and use it as the staging point for a full land invasion of the European mainland, which is another front opening at the worst possible time. 1894 is the year of Broken Trinity, and it represents the most strategically brilliant and devastating thing the heretics have ever done to the faithful in a single day. The Death Commandos, the heretic elite assassination unit, simultaneously kill the Supreme Pontiff, the High Prophetess Aelia, and the Holy Roman Emperor.
So many kills. I'm sorry, Pontiff, High Prophetess Aelia, Holy Roman Emperor dead, Death of the Holy Trinity. Alright, got it. I am looking at this, we've seen this, quote-unquote photo multiple times before. I'm looking at it right now, or, this particular piece of art, and I honestly can't tell whose side is who. I mean, you've got the flagellant, you've got this guy carrying, someone on a cross with, I honestly can't tell which side is which. Or which ones are the good guys?
In a perfectly coordinated triple assassination. And while the faithful's command structure is still in shock, the heretic legions, commanded by nobles from the 7th Circle of Hell and backed by a massive armored vanguard of tanks, launch coordinated offensives in both the Levant and Europe simultaneously. And it nearly works. Following the carnage of the Year of Broken Trinity, the heretic Lord Achish, who's the current lord of the 66, launches the 8th siege of New Antioch while simultaneously striking at the Iron Sultanate, aiming to divide and destroy the faithful by attacking both their greatest strongholds at the same time. The Duke of New Antioch himself falls in battle during the siege, a catastrophic personal loss for the city. But a hastily assembled relief force eventually defeats the heretic armies, and the siege is broken. New Antioch stands, as it always has, but the cost's enormous, and the scar of it runs deep into living memory. In 1899, and this is one of those entries that the lore delivers with complete deadpan seriousness, the church starts a space program. No elaborations given about what they're doing up there.
I mean, like earlier, why? It seems like it's like the worst time to start a space race.
Or what they've found.
What, an orbital cannon?
But the church space program's been operational for 15 years.
Is this the official art for the space program? This is the last thing I'd expect. It's almost cute.
Years by the time the game
Wait, because I'm supposed to put it down in the comment if this is like the official art.
takes place in 1914.
There we go.
Then 1910, and the Battle of Cordoba's a bloody stalemate, where heretic artillery devastates one of the oldest and most historically significant cities in Spain, but the advance into the heartlands of Hispania stopped. The line holds, but barely and at great cost. And that brings us to the recent past, when the supply fleet of New Antioch's ambushed and destroyed by the heretic fleet. The wreckage washes ashore along the Levant and creates the devastated stretch of coastline that becomes known as the Carcass Front. Not just a battlefield, but a graveyard of ships, supplies, holy relics, and lost soldiers.
Yeah.
A stretch of no man's land sitting
Again, look, I can't tell which ones are the faithful and which ones, you know, the heretic legion or something.
atop the ruins of countless sites claimed by both heaven and hell, soaked in enough history and death that something ancient seems to stir beneath its bloodied waters. Something that's been chained there for longer than anyone currently alive can remember. It's during this period that a tsunami of biblical scale strikes the Carian coast, ripping a sunken temple from the seafloor and washing it ashore near the fishing town of Dorothal. Inside the
more problems. Of course, it is Grimdark after all.
ruins, the townspeople find a massive obelisk of strange greenish-black stone, too large to have come from anything living, and radiating power so palpable that the people who touch it fall to their knees. They drag it up to a hilltop behind the town and call it the Altar of Leviathan. And finally, 1914...
Hold up. There's something strange about that. The Altar of Leviathan. Commandments, thou shalt not have any other god before me. I mean, we don't know its origins. We don't know what it is. And, you know what? As far as we know, the Christian God does not like it if when we worship something other than, you know, him. So, I mean, it's in the commandments. Thou shalt not have any other god before me. So, yeah. This could be bad news.
Is where the game takes place, and it's not a quiet moment in this 800-year war. Both sides are massing for major offensive operations, and in the huge swaths of...
I forgot which creator it was that, you know, that we covered. That one of his gripes with regards to this particular system is that, how come it's a skirmish game? How come it's a squad-based game? How come it's not an army builder? This is the First World War after all. I mean, Bolt Action does World War II. I mean, just imagine what you could do in a First World War game. And you know, how come like you reduced all this material into a skirmish, into like 8 guys duking it out? Why? How? Like, it's just 8 to 12 guys, which we know, you know, millions and thousands died in a single day. Yet, you know, they reduce it to like 8 to 12 guys fighting in a trench. It seems like, according to that creator, it seems like a missed opportunity for an army builder. Like, why reduce the material into like a squad-based game? I guess it's because, I mean, personally, I think, you know, it's a Kickstarter, so they can definitely, or you know, they might definitely expand from that. But for now, I think his gripe is valid, that why reduce all of this material into a squad-based game or into a skirmish. So yeah.
No man's land between the trenches, skirmishes and raids are increasing in intensity as the faithful...
Skirmishes and raids. All of this was reduced to skirmishes and raids.
And the heretics both scramble for information, powerful relics, and strategically important positions.
See, relics and information. So we know the objectives, or at least what would serve as objective markers.
The entire world's a front in a war that started...
This was all reduced into like a commando action or specialized action instead of, you know, just imagine an army moving forward.
Because some knights in Jerusalem found something they shouldn't have touched and made choices that can't...
See, some knights found something in Jerusalem. I mean, the pandemic was caused because a guy ate a bat or something. Or, you know, wars happening in the Middle East right now because they wouldn't prosecute you know, minor lovers that visited Epstein Island or something. So yeah.
Be unmade. 1/3 of humanity's bent the knee to hell. The heretic domains
1/3. It's not so bad. It's not so bad. I mean, we've been losing one battle after the other. We've been losing our most important people, yet we're holding on.
Vast stretches of the Middle East, the Caucasus, the Balkans, large portions of North Africa, including most of Egypt, and footholds in northern Italy, Gibraltar, Rijeka, and Cordoba. The faithful hold New Antioch by the skin of their teeth, and the Iron Sultanate holds behind its miraculous wall. And somewhere north of New Antioch, in the most infamous stretch of the entire war, Leviathan's chains are hidden in no man's land, while both sides race to decide what happens next. Whether Leviathan's slain, consumed, or unleashed upon the world will determine what the next chapter of this 800-year war looks like, and that chapter's being written right now. And that's the full timeline of Trench Crusade.
Nice. Anyways, you guys, like it if you do. Subscribe! Good Lord knows we are in dire need of it, alright? Bye! Alright, so what's next? You guys wanna play? Yeah, let's play. Hold on. Rule. Like I said, it's like, a military kind of night. And, I sort of like realized that might as well go for it. Because, we have... Hold on. Oh no, my bad. Hold on. Rule Britannia. Alright, so... Yeah, we're just gonna play a bit of Master of Command. Because... whatchamacallit, patch is out. I think there's a free DLC. We've been given a free DLC. So yeah, we're gonna see what's up. Yeah. Alright, so let's see what's up. And tonight might as well finish off the tutorial or the free campaign, which is like the Rise of Friedrich. Why don't we check it out? Because last time we did Shadow of Molowitz and then March of Redemption, but I honestly didn't enjoy it because it was like in the old piece. There we go. Last time we played, it was with the old PC, so it was definitely hard to see. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get in closer. Because, guys, when I do this, I honestly don't wear my glasses. So, whatchamacallit, so the camera can basically track my eyes. So, yeah, we're gonna repeat the whole thing. So, first one is the Shadow of Molowitz. The story of Friedrich. I honestly forgot what it's about.
Ich bin Friedrich, König in Preußen.
Okay.
Als ich die Thronfolge antrat, waren wir ein Kleinstaat. Respektiert, aber niemals gefürchtet.
Respected, but never feared.
Meine erste Schlacht, Molwitz, hätte ein Kunststück aus Disziplin und Strategie sein sollen. Stattdessen schickte man mich vom Schlachtfeld. Generalfeldmarschall Schwerin, meines Vaters vertrauenswürdigster General, gewann an jenem Tag ohne mich. Molwitz war meine Schule. Die Kavallerie wurde inzwischen reformiert. Die Infanterie, die ohne mich kämpfte, verwandelte ich in eine Streitmacht, welche niemals ins Wanken gerät. Und diesmal stehe ich mit meinen Männern bis zum Ende.
Eure Majestät, ein Verband österreichischer Grenzer, 2, vielleicht 3 Bataillone, wurden bei der Überquerung der Neiße gesichtet.
Perfect time to prove ourselves.
Sind sie sich unserer Präsenz unbewusst.
Go, Friedrich!
Dann werden sie nicht mit einem Gefecht rechnen. Wir greifen an.
A fact. Alright, why don't we go for it? General satellites revolutionized Persian cavalry tactics. Squadrons could pivot in motion. No! Hold on. I'm sorry. Like, that was surprising. Like, it literally shifted. There we go. Like, out of nowhere, the whole thing shifted. Okay, so yeah, let's handle deployment. We are here. That is the bridge. Great, so we're deploying. Yeah. I'm looking up because the screen in front of me is simply too small, and I honestly can't tell what is what, which is which. So yeah, deployment. I think we're fine. Yeah. Hold on. So that's a command circle. So I think that basically causes whatchamacallit, buffs or something, morale buffs. So let's deploy. Alright, so very intuitive though. Like, you know what you're doing, or at least, you know, we've played this before and I can tell which is which, what is what. So yeah, move forward, boys. Cavalry, this is you. Yep, just walk in. No need to be tire ourselves. This is our officer. Yeah, rule Britannia. Britannia rule the waves. Well, I know this is Prussia, but you get the point. I don't know any Prussian songs. Britannia. We've got sharpshooters. As long as we keep our cavalry back and we keep our cavalry in reserve, we should be good. Anhalt the Sao. Toggle bayonet to attach their bayonets. Okay, we haven't toggled anything. As long as we get there first, we should be fine. Run! Run! Run, 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 run. We need to be there first. There we go. Yeah. Keep it tight, boys. Keep it tight. We have everything we need right now. We have everything we need right now. We just need them to gain position just so we know what they're doing. Oh, we have grenadiers. Look. Throw a grenade. There we go. Got it. Wait. Focus fire on this one. And it seems like they're focusing fire on this one. Alright, it's alright. One volley and then we go for grenades. They think we could. Alright, General, stay here. One volley, we're good. Now grenades. Grenade. Forward. We got there first. Oh, they're actually throwing stuff. One more. Why is everyone not firing? One volley and another grenade. We can do this. Come on, one more volley. Reloading. Bang. There we go. And then one more. I am a little bit concerned of this cavalry under 8. But you know what? The general leads from the front. Or at least, you know, from the side, I guess. Why not? We know where they are, boys. We know where they are. In order to protect the general flank, 6 bayonets. We got him. Come on, General! Cross that river, General! They have the advantage because we just, you know, crossed the river. We have the advantage because we just crossed the river. Come on! We need to roll faster. Come on, General! Oh, we won! We won because we have the general's buff! Keep charging! No, don't have the general isolated! Wait, are they gonna... Charge! Alright, come on lads, forward! You know what? Toggle that bayonet and charge! You know what? Walk while you charge. Don't bother running. Just walk it out. You know what? We have to retreat this one. Retreat. Retreat behind the lines. Retreat behind the lines. Fire on this one. Did they not fire at anyone? Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're fine. Fire! Fire! Do something. Why is not everyone not firing? Alright. Oh, okay. Is it because was not toggled or something? Why are they not firing? There we go. Firing. And then walk. There we go. Definitely unimpressive. We can surround this particular battalion. Just keep walking and run. You know what? There we go. Just charge in. Just charge in. Just charge in. Where's our cavalry? Put them right in the middle. That one's already running. General. Officer Corps. Run! Run! I know you have cover. What about that other side? Are they running? Are they retreating? Winded routing. Alright. We're routing. What about this one? You can have this one. Charge on that one, General. Move faster. Run! Run! There we go! We won! We won! Oh, I have to understand that the experience is a bit Total War-ish now that I remember. It's one of those games that we failed to follow up on before the last PC died. Rule! Britannia! Britannia rule the waves! What about this other one? We got it, victory! Wait, no! Don't we get like grades? Okay, fine. March to redemption.
Der Winter in Schlesien gab uns Zuversicht. Unser Scharmützel gegen die Grenzer war eine sorgfältige und präzise Angelegenheit. Nun jedoch erreicht uns eine große österreichische Streitmacht bei Chotositz in Böhmen und ich sitze einen guten Tagesmarsch von meinen Männern entfernt. Wir müssen die Nacht durchmarschieren, um die Armee zu retten. Dies wird meine wahre Herausforderung. Meine Chance, die Schande von Mollwitz reinzuwaschen.
Friedrich, die linke Flanke ist am Zusammenbrechen. Meine Kavallerie kann nicht länger standhalten. Solltet ihr zögern, so drohen wir die Schlacht zu verlieren.
Are we delaying?
Mollwitz war mit der Armee meines Vaters. In Chotositz wird es meine sein. Eilschritt! Wir müssen zuschlagen, bevor die Österreicher unsere Linie durchbrechen.
Rule. Interesting. I enjoy not to lose it, but rely on the bayonet. See, why does it keep like shifting like this? Like when something happens. Hold on. Is there 6 something? Graphics, no. Shadows, windowed. General, windowed, yes. Resolution, native. Yeah, display window, window 2. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That's it. That should do it. That should finally figured it out. Alright. So Crap, I forgot how I fought this battle. It seems like we have the neighborhood with us. But it seems like, but we have artillery with us. Do we have artillery with us? Officer Corps. Two artillery guns, okay. We have Preston Zhuzhnek. Alright, hill will be ours. We will wield it here. What is this? What does that mean? Limber, pack up, unlimber, deploy. There we go. Alright, got it. And then, wait, what's this? 2, 3 grenadiers. Ah, so this is his army. Whereas you, this is your army. This is your army. Whereas this is the cavalry that needs help. Where is Friedrich? This is the cavalry that needs help. Okay, got it. Okay. This is your army. Von Hohenstein. Alright, this is your army. Alright. We shall keep this one since we're gonna be doing some neighborhood fighting. Let's use the houses for cover because fuck 'em. This is his army. Okay. And then where is Friedrich von Freuben? I have no idea how to pronounce that letter, okay? Von Freuben. Whereas you are the cavalry. Alright, let's put you in the middle. See what happens. So we can, wield it the way we need. So we can wield it like the way we need to. Whereas this, where is the guy? This is the guy. Alright, there we go. Should make enough cover for those guns. And deploy. That should do it. Alright, line will advance here. There we go. Let's keep the whole thing covered. Might as well take this particular flank or, fold this flank in the best we can. And guns, forward. Elevation. We have elevation. Since we're taking that particular flank, might as well take this road. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might as well take this road. They can have the neighborhood. Friedrich. There. Cavalry, take cover. Don't know what they have. I assume they're gonna start shooting at us at a certain point. There we go. We have elevation. Is that elevation? This means elevation, right? Alright, let's unlimber. What do we have? Hold on. Unlimber. There we go. Okay. And then this one, unlimber. Alright, hopefully this means elevation, that they're on top of a hill and they will not be shooting the men. Alright, the moment we can definitely fold. We can definitely fold the flank and to the left. Because basically we're gonna fold them to the left and then expose their right to our cavalry. Right now they have cover. Are they eager? Fresh cover, ammunition. Hold out for more information. Accuracy, bracing, force. Great. So far at least they have cover. Yeah, we can fold it in. I'm definitely not comfortable those guns firing behind the men, so let's take at least this particular side. Read it. There we go. Huh. They actually adjusted. Interesting. Muskets bokeh. They actually adjusted. Are we in range? Are we in range? Ground shot. What is this? Toggle limber. What are they firing at? Alright. Fire! Alright, it seems like, you know, no one's getting hurt. Ah, okay. Alright, there we go. They're on elevation. This one's an elevation, so yeah, we have the advantage. They have to come towards us. We were losing this one. They have to come towards us. Ah. Austrian Fusiliers. Alright, they're coming forward. Focus on that line, boys. Focus on that line. Focus on that line. Skirmishers aren't a threat. Great, we just have to hold this one. Where's this? Ready? What type of forces do we have? We have Cuirassiers, alright. We have Hussars. Our Hussars, yeah. And then we have Dragoons. Can they like dismount and shit? Why do I have to say din shit? They're Dragoons, right? They can dismount. Flexible. They're Dragoons. They have to dismount. Good. Poor charge. Of course it's poor. Ground shot, of course. Lock to melee. Volley fire. How come they can't dismount? They're Dragoons. That's a bit sad. Anyways, we will fold their line. Alright. It's just duel. We have a ton of Dragoons too. Yep. A bit inaccurate. We're gonna have to get rid of those guns at a certain point. There we go. Alright. There we go. Those are Grenadiers. They're coming in. There we go. And then we have Dragoons. So, are there Dragoons? Yeah, those Dragoons coming onto the right. We will match them with our Cuirassiers. There we go. There we go. Right. Fall onto the right, boys. Fall onto the right. They have nothing. We have initiative here. Ha. Keep that one on reserve. There we go. We can fire. We can shoot. There's nothing. They have to run. There we go. No need to chase after them. Our basic huzzahs. There we go. Green. Cuirassiers. Where are those Hussars? Hussars can move forward. There we go. Hussars, move forward. Take out those guns. The rest will hold the line. Break the center. To the right. Let's play the gap. There we go. To the right. Towards the gun, boys. Towards those guns. They have nothing. We can fold it. We can fold it forward. We can fold it forward. We have everything we need right here. Yeah, we can start folding this one. Leave the one in the middle. There we go. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Our horse is lost! There we go! Oh, we got him, we got him, we got him. Our horse is lost. It's fine, it's fine. It's fine, it's fine. Alright, so the cavalry did falter. Just get back, get back. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. You're forgiven. You are forgiven. Cuirassiers and the dragoons. It's alright. You are forgiven. Just head back to the line where you can make yourself useful. You can provide cover. There we go. We've gotten rid of their guns. Faulty rate. Dragoons, how come? Like, you can't. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. You're forgiven. Just take this one. The Fusiliers, they're losing. As for the guns, take the center in this one. At least we are protected. There we go. We got the charge. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. We have buffs. Take the rate, take the rate. These two can just limber on. We're gonna do more harm than good. Pull them back. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, it's alright. We're fine. We're fine. Yeah. We are fine. Need to hurry. General! Come on, General! We got him! We got him! I think we're winning! Alright, Hussars, our Hussars lost that one. Charge! Limber! Move back, no need to die on this one. Yeah! So dangerous! Oh! So dangerous! We got him, we got him! Shit! It's afraid of that one. General, fall back! Hap, hap, hap! Shit! Alright, alright, we got him, we got him! Oh! Got him, we got him! Retreat! Oh! Just 2 rounds, what's left? There we go! Got him, we got him, we got him! Ah! There we go! Let's fold the line in, boys! Let's fold the line in! Let's fold the line in! Where's the general? Friedrich! Let's fold this line in! Run! Let's reorganize and reform! Did our cavalry lose again? Friedrich, support this line. We need to fold this in. The guns are no longer necessary. Alright. You know what? Fuck him. Kill him. Where's Friedrich? Friedrich, is everything alright? Support the infantry! Support the infantry! Friedrich, support the infantry! Just charge in! Is that ours? Yep, it's ours! Alright. We got him, we got him! We got him! Forward! Don't let Friedrich die! God damn it! Could be a stray musket ball or something. Kill off the general. Oh no! That cavalry is still alive! You know what, Friedrich? Kill it yourself. There we go. Oh my god, what a mess. Alright, fire, boys. Fire. You know what, screw that. You know what, charge this one. Come in from behind. And run. Keep eating up the... Friedrich, stay where you are. God damn it, where are you going? God damn it. Oh. Stay where you are, Friedrich. Run! They are the Hungarian Fusiliers. Come on. Fuck it, everyone in! Everyone gets some! Everyone gets some! Everyone gets some! These boys are definitely holding! Oh! Some are still alive. Hold up. Don't shoot each other now. Yeah, just keep eating them up. Whoever's not the, unhealthiest or something. Is everyone there, 8? That it? Toggle those bayonets, boys, and charge them in. Toggle those bayonets and charge! Right, who's this? Who's this? What a cluster! Oh. Really? They're that tough? They're that tough? Hold fire. General will die by stray musket ball or something. Right, is everyone fine? You know what? They're the only ones in position to actually provide a direct charge. Oh, it's what you call it? The SARS. There we go. They're repeating. I wish they could have given like some sort of a grade, so we'd know if we did well. Alright, the King's Gambit.
Bei Mollwitz rannte ich.
We won, right?
Protositz marschierte ich durch die Nacht und triumphierte.
We won.
Schlesien soll mein sein. Errungen, nicht
taken, not inherited.
Ein glorreicher Sieg, Eure Majestät. Die Österreicher werden keine andere Wahl haben, als sich an den Verhandlungstisch zu setzen.
We're doing well.
Frieden ist nur gekaufte Zeit. Die Kaiserin wird den Verlust von Schlesien nicht so leicht vergessen. Und ich bin noch nicht fertig.
I am not finished. What happens next?
Die Österreicher sind zurückgekehrt. Sie wägen uns kampflos und schwach. Aber wir verfolgen jeden ihrer Schritte.
Wie ihr befohlen hattet, Eure Majestät, bedrängen von Zitens Husaren ihre Reihen und halten uns auf dem
kept us
Laufenden.
informed.
Unsere Agenten haben ihr Lager infiltriert und füttern den Feind mit gezielten Fehlinformationen.
Es ist Zeit. Der Feind muss glauben, dass wir noch immer hier warten. Wir marschieren heute Nacht. Kein Gerede, kein Rauchen, nicht einmal einen Mucks. Wenn die Sonne sich hebt, werden wir in der Schlachtreihe stehen, während die Österreicher noch ihren Kaffee trinken.
They're gonna steal a Knight's March on them. Alright. That's a deal then. Bum, 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 bum. Charging from the front is far less than charging from the flank or rear. Haha. Alright, we stole a Knight's March. And what do we have? Interesting. We can take this forward line. We're gonna have to be fast in the sense that there are several elevated positions at which we can take. But I am honestly like worried. Friedrich. I'm honestly like worried that we can't take this front one. But anyways, you guys, that is something to look forward to on the next one. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Friday. Okay, again, like it if you do. Subscribe. Emperor Friedrich.